You are looking live at the nation's largest stadium on a historic night. They've played football at Michigan Stadium for 84 years. But this will be the Wolverines' first ever night game. Since 1887, few teams have shared the glory and dominance of the gridiron like Michigan and Notre Dame. Their battles, historic. Their leaders, legendary. Their achievements, undisputed. But history will provide no pep talk tonight. The ghosts of past glories will have to watch this one from the sidelines. And the true worth of every player and coach will be revealed as they step into the lights of the big house for the very first time. This is more than a rivalry between two storied programs. This is a chance at redemption. The two winningest teams in the history of college football struggling to regain their dominance in the Midwest. But what will appear from the shadows of controversy? Seasons of mediocrity? A rebirth of excellence? Tonight, there will be nowhere to hide in the big house, under the bright lights, and thunderous roars of 100,000 fans. All will be revealed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a Douglas C-47, and that was one of our prime people movers back in World War II. It was used as a cargo transport to fly over the Himalayas after the Japanese closed the Burma Road. So a lot of history with the C-47. Now we get ready for Notre Dame and Michigan. Our officials tonight are from the Big East. Normally you find a Big Ten crew at Michigan Stadium, but in this contract, which begins this year with Notre Dame, they will be Big East officials, which are used by the Irish in South Bend, here in Ann Arbor, and then down in South Bend it will be Big Ten. As the captains now come out, our referee is Thomas Tomzek, and his umpire is Mark Pellis. And the captains will now come out to the center of the field, and notice that the referee himself is wearing a throwback cap tonight.
All right, gentlemen, Notre Dame, you're the visitors. You're going to call the toss. What do you, this is a head. That's a tail. What are you going to call?
Heads.
You're going to call a head.
Heads.
It is a head. You've won the toss.
Defer.
Notre Dame has won the toss. They will defer. Michigan, it's your choice. Want the ball? You want the ball? Which way do you want to kick?
We want to kick from that end zone to this end zone.
Okay, Michigan. Get you back to them. Michigan will receive.
And now for our rivalry history, this is brought to you by Sprint. Wolverines leading the series. This goes back to 1887, and last year, as I mentioned, a 4-point victory by the Wolverines in South Bend. And Denard Robinson, 502 total yards. Now, they did play 3 previous night games, but all were in South Bend, late 80s, early 90s. Lou Holtz was the coach of the Fighting Irish. Now, for Notre Dame, this is a bus trip to Ann Arbor. You get in the buses. It's 137 miles to the big house. There's the interstate trail. Now, Coach Kelly is standing by down below with our Aaron Andrews, so let's go to Aaron.
Brent, thanks so much. Coach, you told me this week you looked at this game as a measuring stick for where your team is. What's the most important thing you want to see from your guys?
Well, for us, it's just eliminating all the mistakes. Let them just play. They played hard last week, but now they've got to eliminate those mistakes if you want to be a quality football team.
It's not Tommy Rees's first start, but with so much hype and emotion surrounding this game, what do you need to see from him early?
Just make some easy throws, get off to a good start, and he'll be fine. He's been in some big atmospheres before.
Thanks for your time. Brent.
Aaron, thank you. And Brady Hoke, his first season as the Michigan head coach. He was on Gary Moeller and Lloyd Carr's staff for 8 years. Coached the defense before he became the head coach at Ball State. Very familiar with the tradition. Comes from San Diego State. And we are underway. The Wolverines will handle the ball first. Coming out from the 3-yard line is Vincent Smith. And Smith is out to the 22-yard lines. As we take a look at tonight's X Factor, brought to you by X-Men First Class. Herbie, I can't say enough about rush yardage for Denard. 1,700 yards, a quarterback record.
Yeah, remarkable last year. And, Brady Hoke and Al Borges, the new offensive coordinator, made a comment that, listen, we know that he's our playmaker. He's dynamic, but we also want to protect him. Last year, he averaged 18 carries a game. He may get that tonight because they got to have to utilize his ability to come after this Notre Dame defense, but he's also going to have to make some throws to try to exploit one-on-one coverage.
See if he stays in the gun or he comes up under center as he changes it. Now he has 5 seconds, goes back in the gun, and he shifts Michael Shaw off to his left. Shaw will lead the way for the block, and here's Denard as a runner, picking up 7 yards on that first carry as we take a look at tonight's impact players. And they are brought to you by our friends at Chick-fil-A.
Well, I mentioned how Notre Dame, as the game goes on, if you're going to see Denard run the football the way he did last year, Junior Hemingway and the Michigan receivers are going to have to win one-on-one battles. Stephen Hopkins is back in the lineup, suspended in the opener last week against Western Michigan. He could have an impact tonight. And on the other side, of course, Manti Te'o, number 5, will be all over the field for Notre Dame and has a lot of pride. And based on what happened last year against Denard Robinson, he's ready to go.
Trips down to the bottom of your screen. Denard is thrown for a loss on that play by Te'o. Manti Te'o, number 5, folks. Keep an eye. This is an All-American right here.
Well, we just talked about him being an impact player, and this is what he has to do. He gets off of a block. Good job by Notre Dame of kind of just stretching that play to the sideline. You've got to keep Denard Robinson to the inside. You cannot let him get outside where he can do damage, and that time you saw Manti Te'o do his job, and also the defense as a whole running and flying to the football.
We welcome those of you who just watched Georgia and South Carolina in a great game down south. Here, the first ever night game in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the home of the Michigan Wolverines, and Notre Dame with the first possession of the game. They just had a false start, so they will have a 3rd and long. 1,000 folks in here for a night game.
And it's a great rivalry game to boot. And, of course, anytime you get into the newly renovated Michigan Stadium here in the Big House, and a night atmosphere against Notre Dame, always unique.
Now, need 11 yards, and Robinson throws a pass, and it is waved off incomplete, and so the Wolverines are forced to punt.
Mental mistake by Michigan on that 3rd down. The procedure call moves them back to a 3rd and 11. Notre Dame, the defense after what happened last year to get off to a quick 3-and-out start against Denard Robinson, big for them on the road to get their confidence established early.
The freshman, Matt Weil, grew up in San Diego, but he's a 5th-generation Wolverine. And there's a punt, and the coverage man ran past the return man, John Goodman, and he was able to pick up a few yards.
So, big talk this week about Tommy Rees getting a chance to become the starter. Now, last year, he ended the year playing in some big games, taking over late in the year for the injured Dan Chris. Played at Notre Dame Stadium, of course, Yankee Stadium, beating Army 27-3, all the way out in L.A. against USC in the L.A. Coliseum. And, of course, tonight, the first night game in the history of Michigan Stadium. He knows the big scene and the biggest atmosphere and how to produce and keep your poise in that atmosphere. That's what he was able to do last week, late in the game against South Florida.
Handoff, and bursting through for a first down run is Sierre Wood, number 20. And if the Irish get a running game going, look out.
Well, this is big. And Desmond Morgan, number 44, a true freshman, gets a start tonight. He slipped off of that tackle. He had a chance to have Wood close for a short gain, but give Wood, who's put on some weight, has a little bit more muscle, is able to break through those arm tackles. A lot of credit there. Again, early in this game, you've got to like the feel and the flow for Notre Dame.
They stick with Wood, his second carry into the middle as we take a look at some of the impact fellows that we will see here.
Well, we've seen Sierre Wood, but I think it's going to start on the outside with Michael Floyd. If he's left one-on-one, Tommy Rees is going to get him the football. He can make some big plays, the 12 receptions a week ago. Sierra Wood, he gives them a true game breaker in the backfield, number 20. And if you're a Michigan fan, keep an eye on 32, the former walk-on, Jordan Kovacs. Michigan likes to blitz with new defensive coordinator Greg Madison, and he'll be all over the field, disguising blitzes and dropping back. He's the playmaker.
Rolling is Reese. Firing complete to the 20 and the big man, number 3, Michael Floyd. Last week, he was a huge weapon. 12 catches for 154 yards.
Well, they better do a good job of keeping an eye on number 3, because this is who Tommy Rees wants to get the football to. You can see the corner that time went deep with the receiver. J.T. Floyd was deep down in coverage against Reddick, and it opened up a huge lane to the outside, and Rees does a good job patiently eventually finding his open man, Michael Floyd.
21-yard gain. Knocking on the red zone. Wood picks his way to the 9-yard line, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Irish. Now, remember a week ago, let me take you back to South Bend. Many of you watched it. The Irish moved right down the field on South Florida, got inside the 10-yard line, and then the horrendous turnaround, the fumble, and South Florida returns it 96 yards for a touchdown. A 14-point swing. Of all the turnovers in that game, of all the things that happened, that was the most devastating.
They never seemed to recover from that. In fact, 3 times inside the 10-yard line, they turned the football over. But you're right, that first one was devastating.
Fumble on the snap. Rees dives back into the middle of that pile.
Rees fumbled the snap.
Interesting the way the game started last week for Michigan as well. They were very conservative early, and Western Michigan moved the ball right down the field. And right now, early in this game, they're not attacking. They're not blitzing as much. That time, Rees just not able to secure the football. But they're not attacking. They're sitting back a little bit more in zone. And as the game went on last week, they became more aggressive. And the more aggressive they were, the better results it was for the defense.
Now it's 2nd and goal. Morgan moving in and out of the gaps. Now he comes, tries to slide through, and he's got Wood by the shirt and brings him down at the 7-yard line.
That was man-to-man coverage. Rees making a check, trying to get the ball quickly out to Wood, one-on-one, but outstanding play in space that time by Black, the sophomore out of Cincinnati.
Yeah, I misidentified him as Morgan. That was Black who made a terrific play on that hurdle. 3rd down and goal.
Michael Floyd down here, Brent.
See if they want to throw the fade to him. They come back the other way for a touchdown, Notre Dame. And instead, they hit Theo Riddick for the score. So Floyd is used to occupy him on the left, and they come back and they hit number 6, Theo Riddick.
Boy, how about Tommy Rees? After all the talk about, is he the guy? What is Brian Kelly doing? Is he making the right call? Notre Dame's defense on the road gets a 3-and-out against Denard Robinson, and the offense goes right down the field in 7 plays, and Tommy Rees was flawless on that drive.
David Ruffer. And it's 7-0. Opening drive of the game. We welcome you back to Ann Arbor, where Notre Dame has scored on its first possession. Michigan went 3-and-out, and so now they will handle it for the 2nd time tonight. Vincent Smith is back deep for the Wolverines. Kyle Brunza kicks it away. The freshman recruit, and from the 1-yard line, here comes Smith picking his way to the 22-yard line.
Well, Reese takes advantage of a mismatch. He's got Riddick right here, and look at the cushion against the safety this time, and he's going to eventually work to the outside. Now, J.T. Floyd, matched up one-on-one, will follow his receiver, so you have a huge window to the outside, and it makes it a very easy throw for Tommy Reese. Floyd follows the receiver into the corner of the end zone, and an absolute mismatch with a former running back, Theo Riddick, up against a strong safety in Thomas Gordon. Great execution by Notre Dame on that opening drive and by Tommy Reese.
Number 33, Stephen Hopkins has checked in for the first time as a running back for the Wolverines. He is to the left of Robinson. Deflected incomplete, and it will be 2nd down and 10, and Lewis Moore in on top of it.
This is what you have to do on the quick passes, and if Denard Robinson, undersized, is going to get rid of the football that quickly, you don't have time to get to him. They have really stressed this week in practice, get your arms up, getting the passing lanes, and bat that ball down. That time Lewis Moore, who's a very good athlete up front, does a nice job.
Robinson has missed on his first 2 passing attempts of the night. The Irish keeping them in 2nd and long. And here comes the big running back. Number 33, Stephen Hopkins from Double Oak, Texas. His first carry of the season, and it'll leave them with 3rd and long.
Brent, you've been calling these games for a long time between Notre Dame and Michigan, and I don't care what style of offense or defense that they both play. Both sides tell you the same thing. We've got to get physical in the trenches. We've got to win the battle at the line of scrimmage. It's very early, but right now, a big advantage to Notre Dame. They are just winning the battle up front, and right now, Denard Robinson and company don't have much to work with.
Yeah, they haven't had down and distance as a result, Herbie, to manage it all. 3rd down and long. Robinson going to throw for the 3rd time. He gets good time and drops it underneath to Smith, but that's going to be short of the 1st down. That's going to force another punt, and the Irish are going to get the ball back.
And they're rushing from the outside. They don't want Denard Robinson to have a chance to not find a receiver and escape and all of a sudden create. I would compare him to a Michael Vick when he was at Virginia Tech with his ability to create when a play is broken. That time he had to check it down to Vincent Smith. Notre Dame keeping the play in front of them. Again, another textbook job that time by the Notre Dame defense with another 3 and out.
John Goodman is back deep again. This time waves for the fair catch at the 27-yard line. So we'll take a break, and when you come back, you will see Notre Dame with its 2nd possession of the night, leading by 7.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go.
A traditional stop in Ann Arbor. This is Zingerman's Great Deli. Opened, Herbie, back in 1982. Did you try some of their fare this weekend?
I might have broken an Ann Arbor record. Had 4 sandwiches in 2 days. Actually had a PB&J as a backup today. It was really good.
Herbie, we had a holding penalty on Notre Dame on that return, so that's why as you join us, they're back on the 17, and Rees, who was just excellent, drops one off underneath to Gray, and Gray crosses the 30-yard line. So a 1st down pass right away by Rees for 15 more yards.
How about the offensive line? They pick up the pressure. They allow Rees to sit there. He looks downfield. There's nothing there. And this is a great tool for young quarterbacks. This is just a check down. And allow your back to be able to make something. Everybody's down in coverage, down the field in coverage. Just dump it down. And look at this. He picks up yards, and it's a 1st down.
Trying to bring pressure off the blitz. And that time, a little more firepower out of the Wolverine defense. Big Mike Martin. He'll be an all-Big Ten defensive lineman, number 68.
Yeah, he's one of the better interior players that you're going to see, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. He's played a lot of football for the Wolverines. Greg Madison guessing right. See the defensive line slanting. They had a blitz also coming off of the edge to try to get a little bit more aggressive, try to come after Tommy Rees and attack the Notre Dame offense. They didn't do that on the first drive. Here they come again. See Rees recognizing it, making the check.
But they were coming anyway. And the Irish trying to run away from it, and they do again. They bust for another 1st down with Gray. And Marvin Robinson up to make the play.
2 times Tommy Rees has made a play here. and it's not going to show up in the playbook. Number one, he checked down to the running back. Here, he sees the blitz. They tried to disguise it. He had a dummy call on. Kovacs tipped his hand, started to show up. He was coming up close to the line of scrimmage. Reese makes the adjustment at the line, gets the ball to Gray. Boom, another first down.
They are so confident, the Irish. They have emptied the backfield. They sent 5 receivers out, and they completed into Michigan territory at the 49-yard line on that first down pass to Riddick, who caught the touchdown pass. That's his second catch of the night.
Nice to see Riddick involved in this game plan early. Young man who had a difficult time last week. Case of the drops, and Brian Kelly telling us this week that he wants to get the ball back to him to show the confidence that he has in him. And so far early, the touchdown catch and also getting his hands on the ball there.
The left side of the line appeared to bust across for the Irish. Zach Martin was one of them.
70 offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Zach is a 300-pounder out of Indianapolis. This is a very big offensive line. I want you to note the weights and the experience. Now at left guard, Chris Watt, only his second start, so certainly he's the least experienced of that group. But this is a big, tough offensive line. And Rees, 4 of 4, comes up with another passing situation. He's averaging better than 10 yards of completion here. Under fire, and now he's 5 for 5 and another first down, and again it is Riddick. So the go-to guy here so far is the junior from New Jersey, Theo Riddick.
And Michigan again trying to disguise their pressure. This time it's the freshman right here who's going to come late. And a good job by this offensive line. But look at the quarterback. He's looking off to his left and eventually feels that pressure and gets rid of the ball quickly. Again, to Riddick to be able to make a good play. Good feel that time by Tommy Rees late as that blitz was coming down on him.
Impressive start here by Rees. 6 of 6. This is Floyd dancing. Picks up a block, and he's across the 35-yard line. Marvin Robinson again, the safety from Winter Haven, Florida, making a stop. And Brady Hoke's defense is under fire from the Irish early.
Trying to make adjustments, trying to mix in some pressure. Matching wits here with Brian Kelly and this Tommy Rees offense. Problem is the pressure that they applied on Western Michigan last week worked. This time Tommy Rees is recognizing it and getting rid of the football.
Quickly to the pocket, and he is still perfect. And a nice catch that time by Eifert. Tyler Eifert, talented tight end from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Eifert is a good-looking tight end who really can be at times lined up as a wide receiver. They like to flex him out. He gets matched up one-on-one against zone coverage, and he's able to get away from the linebacker. But again, it starts up front with that Notre Dame offensive line taking care of Tommy Rees and giving him time to be able to evaluate that Michigan secondary and the linebackers and eventually make the throw.
T.J. Jones in as a wide receiver, and Wood is back as the running back. He replaces Gray. He's alongside Rees, and Rees will check and call a timeout. Didn't like what he saw. Tommy Rees burns a timeout here at the 22-yard line. So there is Brian Kelly, who had wonderful success at Cincinnati for taking over as head coach of the Fighting Irish, and we'll be right back. Herbie, not often, but there are times when I think a team is better going on the road. And this week for the Irish, I thought getting away from South Bend, banding together after that tough loss would serve them well.
Great timing. You're right. Excellent point. And sometimes you get away from some of the pressures in South Bend or wherever you might be playing at home and get on the road. We're seeing that early.
And Rees remains perfect. Michael Floyd again.
Once again, Notre Dame's going to bring the pressure. They bring the linebacker again, and when you bring that linebacker, it opens up a big void where the linebacker was. You saw an inside receiver take the safety Kovacs, and it opened it up for Michael Floyd. And Michael Floyd right now is getting isolated one-on-one because other players within the Notre Dame offense are making plays, so it's tough to double him when others are making so many plays one-on-one.
Inside the 10. And That's the handoff to Wood as we take a look back, Herbie, at how they're doing in the red zone where they suffered last week. This is brought to you by Verizon.
You can see there's a different feel to this team, and I think a lot of it had to do with the focus they had on that first drive last week. It was devastating to them. Not only the opening drive, but 3 times inside the 10-yard line to turn the football over, 5 times as a holding call and a touchdown. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, but so far so good for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
So far, Tommy Rees has been very poised. Wood, touchdown, Notre Dame. I want to make a point about what Coach Kelly did today. He got the team out of bed in Dearborn. They bust over to Ford Field, home of the Detroit Lions, and they actually walked through the game plan on offense and defense. And Herbie, not a whole lot of coaches that put a team in shorts and they go through the pregame on game day like he did today.
Well, whatever he did is working. And again, I go back to the importance of the battle in the trenches, and Notre Dame is dominating the line of scrimmage.
Ruffer tacks on the second extra point.
Enduring tradition. Academic inspiration. Global engagement. That's the Michigan difference.
The lights on in the big house for the first time, and our aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. 14-0 Notre Dame, and Michigan has had the ball twice, and both times 3 and out. 145 yards for the Irish, and only 12 for the Wolverines.
For Michigan, Vincent Smith and Jeremy Harris.
Coming out now is Vincent Smith again. And he has to struggle to try to reach the 20-yard line, Herbie.
Right now, we've talked a lot about the line of scrimmage being owned by Notre Dame. Watch Zach Martin, the left tackle, Chris Watt, the left guard, and Ragone, who's also within that circle, 80 the tight end. Watch the domination up front. Good vision that time. Wood just bounced it, a little jump cut to the left. Good vision, but it's also, as we say, it starts up front. And Michigan, for a goal line defense, just getting pushed back, making it easy for Sierra Wood to find the end zone.
Michael Shaw is on as the running back, and they also bring McColgan, the fullback, in. And they go up under the eye. Play fake, and Robinson rolling to the right. Looks downfield. And down at the 19-yard line. They would not let him get outside. Williams is right there as we go to Reese Davis for an update. Reese?
All right, Brent, we check in on LSU taking on Northwestern State. Bayou Bengals non-conference game at home wearing those purples. Jarrett Lee to D'Angelo Peterson. It's only 7-3 in the second. LSU sleepwalking a little bit post-Oregon and pre-Mississippi State coming up on Thursday night. Look at what's happening on ESPN2. Texas has played 3 quarterbacks, same number of points as they have, and Nebraska and Fresno are tied.
So a lot of things going on, and here the Irish jump out to a 14-point lead. Robinson keeps it this time, and that's their first down of the night as he gets to the right corner and comes downfield. Danny Spahn was the defender for the Irish there.
Good job of sustaining his block by Kevin Koger, who's going up against Ishaq Williams. He locked on to Williams, an outside linebacker, to the right as it off to the outside, kind of set that edge. And this time it allowed Denard Robinson for some room to work. You're down by 14, you're playing at home. Who are you going to turn to? Of course, Denard Robinson needs to give this offense a spark.
This time they hand it off, and straight ahead is Hopkins. Stephen Hopkins out of Texas. Danny Fox, the linebacker, defensively.
Notre Dame is determined to make Denard Robinson and this Michigan offense beat them tonight with his arm. They are crowding the line of scrimmage. They're doing a good job so far at containing him, and they want to see if Denard Robinson and his group of wide receivers has what it takes to be able to beat them consistently through the air. Right now, they're not giving him any room on the ground.
Hemingway, Gallen, Roundtree, very quiet so far. Pump fake, then drop it back down the middle, and a diving interception at the 39-yard line. A turnover as Gary Gray comes up with a diving reception. That's his 5th career interception for the Fighting Irish.
Lewis Nix gets the pressure, but I want you to watch the eyes. The screen's going to be set off to the right of the offense, but he just comes off and just kind of throws the football. He looks to the left to try to sell that he's throwing the ball to the left, gives it a little pump fake. Instead of coming back and giving himself just a second to see if his running back is ready, he just turned and flipped the ball without really seeing if he was in position, and Notre Dame capitalizes on it yet again.
The Irish continue to dominate. We'll be back and see their 3rd possession. Tommy Rees is perfect tonight, 8 of 8 for 94 yards, and the Irish have rushed for another 51, back with their 3rd series, leading by 2 touchdowns. Demonstrating poise beyond his years, running this offense. Wood smacked that time. And Aaron Andrews, you have been watching defensive coordinator Greg Madison. How is he handling these young defensive players?
Well, after Notre Dame scored their 2nd touchdown of the game, he met his players over on the bench, and he's just really trying to encourage them and challenge them, not get in their face and yell at them. And Brent, that's why he said he returned from the NFL. He takes pride in being a teacher, going over the fundamentals. We'll see how the defense responds here.
You bet. What are you going to teach Ray Lewis? He told us. He said, I can teach these youngsters something. He's an outstanding football coach. Better days ahead for this defense with him, believe me. 2nd down and 8 now, and Rees high. That's his worst throw and first incompletion of the night.
I mean, the group that he's inherited, they've been through the ringer. It's been a tough go. Of course, they played that 3-3-5 the last few years, and I think the big thing that Greg Madison right now is realizing is a lot of these guys were on the field for some of these seasons, and he's tried, as Aaron said, build their confidence up and teach them about, hey, listen, let's be sound in our fundamentals. Let's just do the little things that can help us defensively.
This so far is the start of their best defensive series. Let's see what happens now on 3rd and long for Reeves and the Irish. And again, incomplete. And so 3 and out for the first time tonight for the sophomore from Lake Forest, Illinois, Tommy Rees.
And Greg Madison that time designed a nice plan. This time it's Hawthorne, number 7, who gets the pressure. And you can see this defense, even though it's new and learning Greg Madison's scheme, they are doing a good job of trying to disguise and trying to hold back from tipping their hand and showing where the pressure is coming from. It's a defense that's really built around pressure.
In practice, the Wolverines thought they might have a crack at a punt block. Now, what they have done...
Notre Dame has called their 2nd timeout.
Yeah, the Irish did not like what they saw. They picked it up, and Brady Hoke had it in his back pocket. So we shall see. Well, this is the week that the pros start, and Monday night, a showdown between 2 outstanding Michigan quarterbacks. Tom Brady and the Patriots begin their season in Miami. They'll face the Dolphins and Chad Henne. And then at 10:15 Eastern, Darren McFadden leads the Raiders against Kyle Orton and the Broncos. So that will be coming up. Then he's an afternoon we spent here, Herbie, watching Tom Brady and then Chad Henne quarterback the Wolverines. And now, after that timeout, the Irish trot back onto the field. Gallen is back deep, standing at the Wolverines. Bad snap. If they'd have had it on, they'd have gotten to it probably. High punt. And it'll be out of bounds. Well fielded. That could have been a disaster, but Ben Turk managed to scoop it up. Timeout. So there is Charles Woodson, who won a Heisman Trophy for the Wolverines. Lloyd Carr was the head coach. And there is the Rocket. Rocket Ishmael. Kick to him again, Bo. Let's see what happens.
See ya.
Bo said to the team, we'll get him the second time. Wasn't to be. Bo Schembechler, a great legend. He would have enjoyed tonight. First night game here, Ann Arbor. 110,000 on hand. Michael Shaw in as the running back. Wolverines are looking to get something going. Robinson breaks out against the defense. To the 30-yard line. And a first down for the Wolverines. That's an 18-yard gain, Herbie.
And it's the first time we've seen the offensive line give Denard Robinson a chance to be able to make some plays. Tight end coming in motion, picks up a good block in Kevin Colger, and they actually give him a seam that time. And you can see the acceleration, of course, when Denard Robinson has a little bit of room to work.
Now he follows Shaw, and now he's going to throw back down the middle, looking for the deep ball, incomplete. So a well-executed play to begin with.
Look at the effort by Denard Robinson to show that he's going to run. This is almost like a halfback pass where he's going to go out here, and it's the effort and the intensity where eventually he wants to get Hemingway all the way to the backside. But watch him. It's like a halfback pass. I'm going to run this. I promise. I'm running it. Tries to get the defense to come up, which they did, but not able to connect in one-on-one coverage to Junior Hemingway.
And did you see the center, Herbie, David Moak, pull on that play? There's not a whole lot of centers that you see him pull, but he got out on top of that play.
Sure did.
Now, Michigan burns a timeout.
Michigan has called their first timeout.
Well, Herbie, this is for my generation, the Aflac trivia. So you're welcome to guess
I'll
on
sit this one out. I'll take a knee.
All right, tonight's Aflac trivia question: what college football stadium? Thank you. Was in existence the longest before hosting its first night game? Obviously, it's not this stadium.
I'm going to go crazy on you here.
Go ahead. You can do
I'm going to say Franklin Field, just for fun.
That's a very, very good guess, but you're wrong.
That wasn't bad, right?
But that was a great guess.
Huh?
I'm impressed.
Old school.
I'm impressed. You
Yes,
went old
sir.
school on me, and you did it good, huh? Yeah, you look down at 84 years, finally, a night game here at the Big House. So, here we are. The longest before hosting its first night game, that would be Harvard Stadium. 104 years. Now, Franklin Field's the oldest stadium in the NCAA, and they played under the lights for the first time in 1972. So they did just beat Harvard.
Yeah, you trumped me here, but
no, that was a good one. I was impressed with what you came up with. I got to tell you. No, I knew that one was a tough one.
Yeah, that's
second down, play action. Robinson incomplete through the receiver's hands. And it looked as though Roy Roundtree had a shot at that one.
because Notre Dame, these linebackers are attacking the line of scrimmage, you're going to get some one-on-one chances. The ball is thrown pretty well. Roundtree just off the tip of his fingers. And that's one that Denard Robinson, of course, would love to have back. 2nd and 10, taking advantage of the opportunities on the outside. And when you're down by 14, you have to execute and make that play.
So far, he hasn't been able to go to his tight ends either. And now it is 3rd and 10 against the Irish D. Shaw, good receiver, slips out, but he's picked up. And now Robinson on the move. And from behind, he is crushed by Calabrese.
Well, 3rd and 10 is tough for any offense, and it's a great job by Notre Dame with their coverage downfield. Not just the coverage downfield, but once you have everybody covered, the play is just beginning and trying to contain Denard Robinson, but they have been able to do that. He took off, and when he takes off, you got to run to the football, and Notre Dame, again, doing a good job of corralling the nifty quarterback.
Wild, the freshman, punts again. Drives it back to Goodman. Goodman trying to get the left edge, and he will not get there. Thomas Gordon, the safety, makes a fine stop on a special team for the Wolverines. But Notre Dame still leads it by 2 touchdowns.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. And X-Men First Class on Blu-ray and DVD today.
So we welcome you back to the Big House. 110,000. Ann Arbor's first ever night game. 1st and 10 now for Rees. Gray back in and his running back alongside. Throwing on 1st down to Floyd. Floyd for a 1st down and to the 35-yard line. So just a quick little flip, and then he does the rest.
And the accuracy is so important to get this ball out there to the outside to give his receiver a chance to make a play. I'll tell you what, Michael Floyd is healthy now, and this is one of the premier wide receivers in the country. He came back for his senior year to be able to show the NFL what he could do. He's a big physical guy, but now I think he has the acceleration to run away from defensive backs. Brett, 4 receptions already on the night.
After a dozen last week. And here is Gray pounding and no gain. And let's check in with Reese Davis for an update. Reese?
All right, Brent, ESPN Primetime Pulse, our game. Notre Dame has the lead, as you well know. BYU, now that lead has been cut to 13-10 as Texas went down the field and scored. That's on ESPN2. And the NASCAR Sprint Cup race at Richmond, Kevin Harvick has been leading. At last check, Dale Earnhardt sitting 29th. That would not put him in the chase for the championship.
And here it is 2nd down and 9 for the Irish, who lead Michigan 14-0. Still have 11:20 left in the first half. Far side, wants Floyd again, and that's out of bounds and incomplete.
Going to set up a 3rd down for Tommy Rees, but so far we've really seen him in sync. 9 of 12, using his eyes, coming off, feeling the pressure, and delivering the football to his man Riddick to be able to give him a chance to play. This was an audible. He saw the blitz off to the right, made the check, got the ball to his man Sierra Wood, and another big gain. It's really been just the poise and the composure and the decision-making right now that's allowed Tommy Rees to be able to put his offense in a position to make plays.
And Floyd has gone off to the Notre Dame sideline on this 3rd and 9, and they burn their final timeout. So Floyd has gone over to the sideline, and then Notre Dame uses a timeout so they can get him back on the field for this 3rd night. I'm not sure that was the reason why Rees called the timeout, but it could have been on the part of the coaches if there was an equipment adjustment. So we'll take a break and come right back. Now take a look at this, because Floyd and Woolfolk, Herbie, and they're nursing leg injuries.
Yeah, Woolfolk had an ankle that he bothered last week. He's trying to go. Also an injury to his hand that he had this week in practice, and Floyd's been hurt most of his career.
But Floyd is back after the timeout, so he will be on the field for the 3rd and 9.
All alone at the bottom.
Now Rees looks in the direction, fires, throwing, and it's intercepted at the 44-yard line. Tommy Rees didn't see the double coverage coming, Herbie.
How about the job by Greg Madison this time on 3rd down with Jordan Kovacs, who's kind of his X factor on the defense, where they try to disguise him. That looked like they were going to bring pressure. Here's Kovacs lined up right here, but he's going to sink into coverage, and the corner Floyd is going to drop. It surprises the cornerback Rees. Look at Kovacs. He gets out underneath it and does a good job. I don't think Tommy Rees ever even saw Kovacs, but it was all because Kovacs up tight, looked like he was in man-to-man, and as the ball is snapped, he jumped out to the flat and got underneath the throw.
Yeah, he thought J.T. Floyd was all alone. Absolutely. Now on 1st down and 10, they'll see if they can pound with Hopkins. Now, Hopkins is the bigger of the running backs here for the Wolverines. He goes a good 228, 230 pounds.
How about Jordan Kovacs? former walk-on
That's
guy,
right.
just makes. You talked about Bo Schembechler earlier. We talk about a guy who would love Jordan Kovacs. Bo Schembechler. He is a Bo kind of guy. Former walk-on, gives you everything that he has. Always seems to be around the defense, making a play. Last week, 2 forced fumbles and 2 sacks.
2nd and 8. Play action. Robinson with lots of time. Going to go deep down toward the end zone. Caught at the 3. Hemingway reaches. Junior Hemingway has a touchdown. A brilliant play, and it began with Michigan's offensive line. 43 yards, and Hemingway with a tremendous scoring effort.
Well, Michigan needed a big play, not just to get on the board, but to spark this team. How about the offensive line that time? Giving Robinson all the time in the world, but really, to me, it was the adjustment. The ball is underthrown, and Junior Hemingway comes back. Bray never found the football, and he goes up, makes the play, and then the effort to try to reach for the pylon.
Desmond Howard wore that number 21 with pride. It has been retired. Hemingway now has a special locker with Desmond's name atop it, and he will wear forever a little lapel signature of Desmond Howard's number. So from now on, when they retire numbers, they'll keep them, but they will honor the player who used them. Reaches for the pylon.
Brent, I think it was really about the right knee and where the football was as the knee touched. I think that's really what they've got to review. It looked like the right knee came down as he's trying to stretch out to the pylon. That's a tough call.
Steve Newman and John Langen are the Big Ten replay officials upstairs in the booth right next to us. They will run it back and forth, and it looked like that elbow might have been out before he reached the pylon, Herbie, I think.
Yeah, I think the right knee touched the surface as he was trying to stretch to that pylon, but the knee may have touched before he actually extended and got the pylon, if they have an angle that they feel comfortable with in overturning this. But a great effort. Just a huge play to get this crowd back into the game. If you're going to wear 21 here, you better give that kind of effort, right?
Absolutely.
Dez would be proud.
So even if they don't give him the touchdown, they're going to have a 1st and goal down around the 1-yard line. And it looked from that angle that they might want to spot the ball off the 1. It is very close. Well, let's go back to how they're going to retire numbers here at Michigan. You know, Herbie, you and I have talked, and we've long thought that keep these numbers in use like they're going to do here at Michigan, but honor the player who wore it. So there's going to be something on the lapel on jersey 21 forever, honoring Desmond Howard and whoever is given that number. And, of course, they'll probably confer with Desmond and ask him if he minds to wear number 21.
That way, instead of retiring it and putting it up in the stadium.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
So it is a touchdown. Could not find indisputable evidence to turn it over. And as a result, the Wolverines are on the board.
Well, again, they needed that. That gets this game potentially back to one possession at 7 points if they hit this extra point. And also just getting Denard Robinson maybe and this Michigan offense a little bit more in sync and get their confidence established.
And Gibbons tacks on the extra point. Now they're down only 1 touchdown. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. So 43 yards on the pass play for the touchdown, and the Wolverines are on the board here, Herbie, and making a stand.
Prior to that completion, Denard Robinson had completed just 1 pass for 5 yards. So obviously, they needed a big play, and they got it.
So here is the throwback helmet for the Wolverines. You can see this number was used in the 60s. But here's the story. John Falk he was the equipment manager. He came to him, and as soon as we watch this kickoff, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story about this helmet and Bo Schembechler. Here come the Irish out from the 4-yard line and down to the 23-yard line. So as you see, Bo came in to John in the training room here in Ann Arbor, and he said, "John, what's with that gray front? You know what gray means. You're from Ohio State." Yeah. He said, "This is Michigan. We'll get some blue on that." So ever since then, it has been a blue face guard. This is a real throwback where they show you the gray at Ann Arbor.
That's old school right there. That's going back. But I thought, you know what, this has been fun. We've seen it the first couple weeks of college football, these throwback uniforms. And I think so far, all things considered, this has been pretty nice. Both schools, I think, did a really good job.
I agree with it.
Yeah, looks sharp.
I agree with it. So Tommy Rees back on the field for the Irish now. And he threw that one away, it looked like, the way he drilled it at Wood, incomplete. And suddenly, Greg Mattison's defense is breathing fire. What's going on here?
Well, I think the last series that they were out, they were able to apply some pressure on Rees and start to win things up front. They got pretty aggressive that last series. And then, isn't it funny how when the offense gets a touchdown, all of a sudden it affects not just the offense, but the defense and their morale as well.
Ed Reed at Baltimore just said, "I know that signal." Second down and 10. Gray's the running back for the Irish. Let me check that. It's Wood. And here is number 20. And Wood breaks through for a first down before Robinson makes the tackle. Fine run here by Wood.
These guys up front, Zach Martin on the left tackle, Chris Watt, the left guard, even the center, Braxton Cave. Look at them getting downfield. They're getting to that second level. They're chasing guys downfield, trying to find somebody to block. This is how you answer a crowd that starts to get into the game. The defense that starts to pin their ears back and get aggressive. You come right back to your guy, Sierra Wood, and you find that crease and get upfield in a hurry.
Wood 8 carries and 61 yards on the night. Now Rees snaps it off incomplete, a little bit high. There's an interference call. There's a flag thrown by the judge on that side.
Saw Courtney Avery,
pass interference. Number 5 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Courtney Avery, the sophomore, is in right now because Troy Woolfolk has been taken out of the game, and he's put one-on-one out there with Floyd, even though Kovacs is trying to help out. But the football was in the air. And when the ball is in the air and you're still jamming Michael Floyd and pushing him into the sideline, the officials are going to make that call.
Remember, we showed you Woolfolk going out of bounds, tangled up with Floyd, appeared to re-injure that ankle, which I believe he suffered at a kickoff, either coverage or return against Western Michigan. At any rate, out right now, and it did not take the Notre Dame coaching staff long to go after. Another penalty flag is thrown, and the play is stopped just as the snap was coming.
I'll start. 66 offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I think it's interesting that Brian Kelly has tried to do the best job that he can in moving Michael Floyd around. I mean, he is a big receiver at 6'3", 224 pounds, but they will move him all over the field. They'll put him at X, which is by himself like he is right now to the top of the screen. They'll move him to the slot receiver down to the bottom. He is all over the field trying to hide where he might be for this Michigan defense. Right now he's up at the top.
Sort of that flanker screen, and that's Riddick who scored their touchdown.
The thing that they did such a good job of when they seemed to have the continuity, Brent, and the rhythm early in their first couple drives is they had Wood involved. They actually found Tyler Everett. You saw Theo Riddick make a lot of plays.
Dead ball. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Stop the offense. 15-yard penalty. Second down.
Zach Martin that time late after the play called for the personal foul. They had 4 personal fouls last week.
So Zach Martin, and this is a huge penalty on a personal foul following that completion. It was pretty manageable at that point for the Irish for third down, and now Brian is understandably upset, and I think he might have said to one of the assistants, take him out. He is very unhappy on that sideline. Now they tell him to hurry up. We're down inside of 10 seconds. Second down and 26. Got one-on-one with Floyd, and Floyd gathers it in at the 31-yard line, and now it becomes very manageable.
This is a matchup that you will take every single time. There seemed to be a little bit of a rush there and panic by Notre Dame, but all of a sudden you get back to the football to Reese. He looks off to his right, and he finds his man again, Michael Floyd, one-on-one. The crowd thinks that Floyd's out of bounds. Let's see if he had possession of the football. They're definitely going to take another look at this. But he had his man one-on-one, and that's exactly what you want. You talked to me. That is a tough conversion. I think he caught the football, and as long as he didn't bobble it, he got his left foot down for the catch.
Going to bring the chains from across the field to see if he got to the first down marker. Yellow line, of course, is not official. Take a look at this. He makes a great catch here.
Watch his left foot right there. It's down. He's got possession. Then they see the right foot, but the left foot got down while he still had the ball. It's a pivotal point in this game where it was second long, looking like they might have to eventually just have to punt the football away, and now it's just third and a couple inches.
Ball is marked just short of the 31-yard line. Third and less than a yard.
If you're really confident, you could take a free shot here and come back on fourth down with a quarterback sneak, or hand it off to get the fourth, try to get the first down that way. I mean, you've got.
And Brian Kelly's one of these coaches that will try that.
Wood is stuffed. Might have had the initial surge, depending on where they spot the ball. And that might be good enough for the first down.
Since you got me on the Aflac tonight, how about the officials? We got all the throwback unis on. How about the look with the old school hats? What's going on with that?
That's throwback.
I guess
throwback
so.
ref's cap.
Yeah.
Used to wear those in the 20s and 30s.
They got in on the action.
So it's a first down for the Irish. Plenty of time to work with. They're out of timeouts, but they've got a whole bunch of time. And, of course, you stop the clock in the college game on a first down. Now, Coach and Rees are conferring quickly.
Brian Kelly was frustrated the play clock had not started, so he took advantage of the officials' timeout and just ran out there and communicated what he wanted to his quarterback.
This is Wood picking his way to daylight to the 25-yard line. Let's go to Reese Davis in the studio for SportsCenter right now. Reese.
All right, Brent, SportsCenter right now is presented by Discover Card. South Carolina beat Georgia 45-42. Crazy game. Melvin Ingram's going to get himself a helmet sticker on College Football Final. The defensive tackle scored 2 touchdowns and was on the hands team and got the late onside kick. Alabama beats Penn State 27-11. No problems for the Tide. Trent Richardson over 100 yards and a couple of touchdowns. SportsCenter coming after the game.
All right, Reese, and here we've got 7:25 left in the first half. Notre Dame 14, Michigan 7. Toss play. Wood trying to get the edge, and he is tripped up by Dewins, the linebacker.
Michigan that time adjusting to a bare defense, meaning that they're going to cover the center and the 2 guards, and they're expecting a run, and they're attacking literally with 11 defenders downfield. Notre Dame, pretty good job of sustaining blocks, but you got 11 guys to try to block. It makes it pretty tough.
Now Floyd goes out to the left on this third down play, and it appears that he might have single coverage out there. Reese comes back the other way. Riddick jumps, and it was stopped. The play had been stopped.
Play. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Brian trying to get him to snap the ball to avoid that delay of game penalty because Riddick was stepping into the end zone again on that pass.
Even though he's in 3rd down, again, Brian Kelly had exactly what he wanted. A lot of confidence in Reese with this group of receivers, isolated one-on-one against the Michigan secondary. Just get the ball out of the hands quickly to these receivers. Let's see if Michigan again shows that same coverage. Now they're protecting the man-to-man coverage with a couple safeties back deep.
Here's Floyd. 1st down. Little cutback. Picks up enough yardage to move the chains for Notre Dame with 6 minutes left here in the first half.
That is a great read. He didn't have the throw downfield, so he comes back to the inside. Look off to your right. You see how Michael Floyd is so physical? Avery's about 175 pounds trying to stay with Michael Floyd at 225. And on his route, at the end of his route, like any good receiver, he gives him a little push, gets open, and Reese finds him.
That's 100 yards for Floyd already. Reese rolls right, fires end zone into double coverage, and it's intercepted at the goal line by the Wolverines. That's their 2nd interception, and it snuffs a rally as Floyd came away with the pick at the goal line.
That's the 4th red zone turnover of the year, and he was late. Brian Kelly's talking to him about being late, and he got a little bit greedy because he was waiting for his receiver right here, Floyd, who's going to come back here. But watch this man right here, Floyd, just kind of sink. But if he looks early, he's got Floyd. He also has his underneath man, but he's late with the football, and he locked in to try to get the ball because he's had so much success already throwing the ball to Floyd. Brent, you mentioned 100 yards receiving on the night.
Now it's the Wolverines' turn again, and they'll come back with Michael Shaw as the running back, as coach and quarterback continue their conversation over on the far side. So Notre Dame, after taking charge, has now thrown interceptions on their last 2 possessions.
Even though he's played very well tonight, that's still just part of growing up. And that's why Brian Kelly's using this as also a learning opportunity and a coaching opportunity to try to teach the young quarterback. And Dane Chris thinks, hey, if they turn this ball over again, I got to get ready maybe.
Robinson off a pump fake. Now he's going deep, and he overthrew Roy Roundtree.
Robinson's pass incomplete intended for Roy Roundtree. Gary Craig for Notre Dame. 3rd down and 11.
Roundtree will come out, and Gallen replaces him as a wide receiver for the Wolverines. On 3rd down, Michigan is 0 of 3, and this is not an easy one. That's 3rd and 12. Robinson sets, fires for the 1st down, incomplete. He had a receiver open that time. And Hemingway, who scored their touchdown, had to turn awkwardly. And Wolverines are forced to punt, giving Notre Dame another opportunity here in the first half.
Well, he had time, and he actually threw this ball right when he needed to. The ball is just thrown behind Hemingway. But they tried to flood the zone and try to throw a receiver short, intermediate, and long, and see if Denard could make the right read. I think he did. He just threw it behind Hemingway for the 1st down.
So from behind, the freshman, and Wild, Goodman back deep. And a fair catch just shy of midfield. So a reminder again, we've got Monday night. It will be the Patriots and Dolphins game 1, followed by the Raiders and the Broncos. So there's your doubleheader on Monday night. And we got to say, we enjoyed being with Mike Tirico here the other night before he went down to Miami. And hey, had a boy, Mike. He picked up the dinner for us. Had a way to go, huh?
Oh, it was great to see Mike.
Well, it was fun talking a little football. Lives here in Ann Arbor. He and the guys, Jaws and John Gruden, We'll bring it all to you in that first game. New England and Miami. First down and 10. Let's see what the Irish can do here. And there's Floyd breaking free. Just the go-to guy. More than 100 yards, picking up still another first down. Kovacs makes the stop.
7 of his last 8 throws, he has targeted Michael Floyd. 2 of them, by the way, have been interceptions, so he's definitely starting to lock in, and I don't blame him. Trying to get the football to Floyd that time. Instead of waiting for a play to develop, they just get the ball out of Reese's hands quickly, maybe try to get him back into his flow. But because Michigan's bringing a lot of pressure with linebackers, there's big voids in that defense underneath, and that time they were able to get after it with a nice quick throw by Tommy.
Michael Floyd is from St. Paul, Minnesota. We've talked about the NFL, and those fellas have to be very impressed with what he does on the field. Crosses the 35-yard line to the 34. It'll be second down now.
I think the rhythm to the Notre Dame offense is all about balance. When they jumped out to a 14-0 lead, we put a graphic up, and there was the same amount of run plays as you saw pass plays. And it seems like the last few series, they've been trying to rely a little bit more on throwing the football because they've not been able to get into those 2nd and 3 and 3rd and 1s. They're a little bit more of those 2nd longs and 3rd and longs, so they've had to throw when it's been a little bit more obvious.
So Will Focus checked back in, received some attention for that injured ankle. And on second down, Woods spins off to the left. Still going to leave them needing about 5 yards here.
As this Michigan defense grows with Greg Madison and gets a better feel for what he's asking them to do, I think Mike Martin and Ryan Van Bergen and Craig Rowe, Jabril Black, Will Heininger, a lot of these guys up front, that's going to be the key for Greg Madison, being able to try to rotate bodies, stay fresh, and try to win that battle up front. And they've done that these last few possessions.
Gray is the Irish running back on this third down. Gray's got to hurry on the snap. Did just get it off, and Gray for the first down. Flirting with another 5-yard penalty, but that time they got the snap off.
Zone pressure. Watch Mike Martin, the nose guard. He's actually dropping. Bad timing to drop the nose guard on short yardage situations. See 68, who's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the country. He's dropping back, anticipating a short, quick throw by Tommy Rees. The only problem is Brian Kelly opts to run right up the middle where the nose guard just left. They were trying to sniff out maybe that pass, and that time Notre Dame got physical.
Approaching 2 minutes, no timeouts. They get a first down at the 11-yard line. Floyd split out to the right. Rees rolls in that direction and throws it away. It'll be second down and 10. He did not force it after having that conversation with Coach Kelly. That time he threw it away. And coming up at the half in the studio, Reese Davis for the Wendy's halftime report. Lou Holtz, Mark May will be on hand. And Reese talked about one of those helmet stickers, and I hope Mark May gives one to that fella from Auburn that made that tackle down to the goal line, stopped that Mississippi State runner from scoring as time ran out. Yeah, that was a big-time tackle.
Yep, Auburn finds the way to win another close game.
That's something. Yeah, second down and 10 here. Breeze threw behind the receiver. I believe he was out of bounds, and he was. Going over there, and Eifert is a fine tight end.
Kovacs and company bringing the heat, bringing one more than that Notre Dame offensive line and pass protection can handle, and they leave themselves vulnerable on the back end. But because they were able to get that pressure, Reese did not have the time to try to find his big tight end and target Tyler Eifert. Good job that time of Greg Madison dialing up that pressure at the right time.
Third and 10 from the 22. And now it is fourth down. And Kelly has David Ruffer, who has kicked 50-yarders. He missed a big one last week against South Florida, but he will come out here and attempt this field goal. Ryan Kavanaugh will be the holder for the Irish. This will be a 30 38-yarder. 38-yarder from that left hash for the right-footed kicker. He splits it. Back on target. 17-7, 10-point lead. So as we take a look at the overall play of Notre Dame after that horrendous loss last week in South Bend, Herbie, I think you would agree this is a much better football team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they had over 500 yards of offense last week against a good South Florida team. They just turned the ball over 5 times tonight. They're up at 268 yards of offense. They early in the game, they really were in sync, but Michigan's made some adjustments, got the crowd back into the game. But go back to Bob Diaco, Notre Dame's defense. Last year, they gave up over 500 yards of total offense to Denard Robinson. Their focus the entire probably offseason was Denard Robinson is not doing that again to us, no matter what happens. Forget the rest of the games. That's not going to happen to us. In the first half so far, things could change. They've done a really good job of corralling him. Right now, Michigan only 92 yards of total offense. And Denard Robinson made the big play to Junior Hemingway, but for the most part, they've kept him under wraps, especially his creativity.
And, of course, Denard Robinson is running an entirely different system under Al Borges. Al Borges would like to feature more of those downfield passes. Those of you who have watched him through the years, and he's been at a variety of schools, including Auburn, when Jason Campbell was the quarterback down there, and they did like to throw the ball downfield. So from the goal line, the Wolverines will come out with the kickoff return to the 25-yard line, and there is a penalty flag thrown back at the 9.
How about Austin Collinsworth again getting down there making a tackle? He's been all over the field on special teams.
Chris's son was a wide receiver until this year.
Block in the back. 21 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Well, Sunday, NFL Countdown, and this is special for you football fans interested who you should start fantasy. It'll be 3 hours. Start at 10 a.m. The Boomers got to get up a little bit earlier. How about the coach, Ditkin, the other coach, Mr. Parcells, and there's the gang. And you'll enjoy them starting at 10. They're going to talk about can the Colts survive without Peyton Manning, one of the big stories of the weekend. And, of course, the Steelers-Ravens rivalry. We talked about the Ravens today, and they play the Steelers in a big one. So you're going to want to tune into those shows. Catch the late injuries, who you're going to start, who you're going to bench in your fantasy leagues, and let's go. Hopkins is back in as a running back now for the Wolverines. They've got a 1:30 and 2 timeouts to work with here. Do you think he'll just kind of run it out and go to the house?
They're really not built for inside your own 5 or 10 yard line and hey, let's 2 timeouts, a minute and a half to go. Let's drive 60 or 70 yards and try to get into field goal range. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but right now they don't necessarily have the pieces in place to be able to do that. So it looks like they are going to just try to work this clock and head in down 10 at half.
Denard Robinson is out of Deerfield Beach, Florida. Runs just above Miami on the eastern coast. And you can see they're taking the D formation, and why not? Don't want to risk it. They're down 10 points. Denard, ever the warrior, I think he wanted to go downfield, but coaches thought a little bit better of that. They don't want to give the Irish a chance to perhaps tack on an extra 3 or get a turnover and make it 7.
Notre Dame deferring, winning the toss, so they will get the football to start the second half.
So this will bring our first half here to a close. Notre Dame went out 14-0 before Michigan struck, and then the Irish tacked on a late field goal here in the first half. And so they will take a 10-point lead into the locker room here at the half. And let's go down below with Aaron Andrews.
Brent, thanks. Coach, first for your defense. What was the biggest key in finally getting some pressure on Tommy Rees?
Well, I think we started hitting blitzes the right way and doing those things. But, our run defense is atrocious, and we're not doing a good job there, and that opens up some things in the passing game.
How How do you counter that? How do you fix that?
Well, we got to play better for sure, and we got to look at we got the right guys in there, and I think we do. Just getting off blocks and those things.
All right, Brady. Thank you.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Yes, they gave up 102 rush yards. And we'll be right back with the studio gang, Reese, Mark, and Lou, for the Wendy's halftime report.
In Ann Arbor, throwback uniform edge, Michigan, we believe. All other departments, Notre Dame has the edge. Chris Fowler and David Pollock. Wolverines have run 22 plays, have 3 first downs, and they're 0 for 5 on third down. What do they have to do offensively to get it going in the second half?
They got to go Sandlot. They got to do what they did a year ago. Denard Robinson, he has to run the football. I mean, you look at this offense, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look crisp. He doesn't look good dropping back to pass, so put him more involved in the run game. You got to give him 20 carries. That's the only way they're going to get some offense going.
Again, if not for mistakes, Notre Dame would have a huge pile of points right now. How do they clean it up?
Notre Dame, they got to do what they do, but they got to stop turning the football over. The turnover led to the 7 points, and you also look at the turnover in the red zone. I thought Brian Kelly's head was going to explode again, but Notre Dame, they're on pace to get 500 yards of offense again, but they just can't have the turnovers.
Michigan's defense has to be getting worn out, but the Irish will get the ball to start the second half, so the Wolverines will need another big stop to give their offense a chance. Down by 10 points, and they got to cover Michael Floyd, who's got 7 catches for 112 yards. Reese, after a hot start, cooled off a bit. He does have the 2 picks, but Kelly's crew will get the ball up 10 when the second half starts right after this quick timeout.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Hampton Hotels, under the lights in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
You say keep my head from going down. Just for a little, watch my feet float off the ground.
They hit touchdown Notre Dame. Notre Dame with touchdown. Junior Hemingway has a touchdown. 17-7. There's young Tommy Reeves, the Irish quarterback, with a 10-point lead as we get ready to start the second half. Now, on the other side, Denard Robinson, very electric, and I'm sure the Irish defense knows you better be careful with that youngster.
Well, he just has not been able to really find any room to work right now. He has 7 carries so far. You know, he averaged 18 carries a year ago for this Michigan offense, and they're going to have to try to get him more involved. And I think he's going to have to be more aggressive, whether he's running or more, or if he's throwing. I think at times he's been a little bit hesitant. And I think that has a lot to do with Bob Diaco, Notre Dame's defensive coordinator. They've done a good job of mixing up some things, and I think creating some confusion for Denard Robinson and the Michigan offense.
All right, for more, let's go down below now to Aaron Andrews. Aaron?
Brent, I had a chance to speak with Notre Dame head coach Brian Kelly coming out of the half. Talked to him specifically about Tommy Reese and the 2 interceptions. He said the first one, tight end ran the wrong route.
Notre Dame will get the ball to start the second half, so they will come out from the end zone here with the kickoff up ended at the 20-yard line, that special team.
Brent, that second interception, though, he told Reese, look, that was just a bad decision. You got to think quicker. You got to get it out. Don't do that again. Also, for his defense, he said, we're just simply challenging Denard Robinson to throw the ball, and he said, that is our goal here in the second half, to keep doing that.
You know, EA, that's one thing that they did do a good job of, is crowding the line and seeing if he could. We talked about that. That's the game plan. You got to force him to throw the football to be able to consistently move the ball. In the first half, they did not come up with that other than the big play to Junior Hemingway.
And Reeves confers with Wood, his running back, before he goes up under center. Wood with the first carry of the second half, and he picked up about 3 yards before he was stopped.
I think the big story, we've talked so much about Denard Robinson, but the big story, not just Tommy Reese, but of course Michael Floyd, and they've moved him around with Brian Kelly's offense. Michigan is trying to take him out, and so what do you do to answer that? You move him around in different formations, and this guy has dropped some weight. He's no longer just a big target. Now he has the ability to break away from the secondary of this Michigan defense.
Reeves on second down to Floyd for a first down. He steps out of bounds on that far side, and still another reception.
He's just a tough matchup for any secondary, but especially right now for this Michigan secondary. Got 8 catches right now, 119 yards, and we're just starting the second half. Of course, 12 catches last week against South Florida, where he and Tommy Reese didn't really get cranking until the second half against the Bulls.
And here comes Wood again through the middle, bursts to daylight, and out near midfield with that first down run.
This is what you love to see from Notre Dame's offense. Get the ball to Floyd, make Michigan's defense be aware of your ability to attack on the perimeter, and then you come back to the inside and control the line of scrimmage and get a big push from that offensive line, and you give the ball back to Sierra Wood, who's off to a pretty good start himself, close to 100 yards.
298 yards of offense for the Irish to 90 for the Wolverines. And the play was stopped prior to the snap.
Ball start. 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Trevor Robinson was guilty on that play, and you can take a look at what some of our impact players have done here, and the biggest impact of all is Michael Floyd, as you pointed out.
No doubt. And when you have a receiver that draws so much attention, it opens up things for Sierra Wood and Tyler Eifert, and we saw Theo Riddick involved in what he can do. He draws so much attention that it opens up so many different areas within this Michigan defense.
Now Rees from the gun puts it back in his playmaker's hands, and Floyd is the leading playmaker. So anybody preparing to face Notre Dame better be prepared for a full dose of number 3. Brian Kelly is a coach who understands when you got a playmaker, keep using him.
And they don't hide it. You know, they're going to let you know that 3 and White's going to get the football, and if you can stop him, good luck. And more often than not, it's going to take a corner and a safety to do that. And they now have the weapons this year to make you pay for that if you spend too much time with Floyd.
Rees snaps the short pass off. Floyd again slips at about the 41-yard line, close to that first down marker, and J.T. Floyd on the defense here.
And the thing that Rees has to be careful of is right now he is one-on-one, and they're doing a good job of getting the ball. But when Rees got into trouble late in the first half, Floyd is such a security blanket that he has tunnel vision, and he locks in a bit to Michael Floyd, and at times he's really telegraphing the pass to Floyd, and it's allowed Michigan, especially the second interception, to be able to lock in on his eyes and be able to make an interception.
For Wood, stopped. Terrific defense by the Wolverines. Van Bergen, the defensive lineman, was in there helping to lead the charge.
Jake Ryan also getting in there, the freshman who's been able to make a start. Van Bergen, Mike Martin, the boys up front on 3rd and short. It was their time to step up, and that's exactly what they did. That was a huge play by this Michigan defense to start the second half.
Ben Turk is into punt, and Gallen is back deep.
Ben Turk in punt formation. Deep for Michigan, Jeremy Gallen.
Another low snap. Fielded. And a booming high punt. That was a terrific punt, especially under the circumstances. He didn't rush it, still hung it high. Now watch Turk how he fields it. It's like a good infielder. Stays right with it and pins the Wolverines back.
This telecast is available in 3D, presented by Sony.
17-7, and we're going to show you a little bit of a controversy here, Herbie.
Yeah, you know, if this punter, Turk, actually had the football, he's bobbling the ball. His knee is down. If he had possession of that football when his knee is touching, it would have been Michigan's football right there, right at midfield, actually in plus territory, but instead he was bobbling it. He gets the punt off, and now Michigan's back inside their 10.
And it's Denard Robinson keeping it himself, just what you said he should do. Make more plays, and he does indeed. So the Irish better get ready. Here comes number 16. That's 39 yards on that first down run.
And it's one of the few times Mantateo, the linebacker, number 5, will be right in the middle of your picture. Actually follows the back that time, Michael Shaw. Everybody followed the back. Great read on the read option. Of course, this is his comfort zone. He pulls it out, and he can get upfield in a hurry. They were at their own 10-yard line, and now they're at their own 49-yard line, just like that.
Michigan lines up in a Schembechler formation with 2 tight. Denard again keeping it. Picking up 3 or 4 more yards, and that's a fine tackle by Harrison Smith, number 22. He's one of the leaders of that secondary, and that's a fine tackle.
And I think you and I and everybody at home, everybody in this stadium knew that for a Michigan offense that just had 3 first downs in the first half, as they went in at halftime, Al Borges probably talked with his staff and said, guys, we've got to scrap the playbook, and we've got to get the football to Denard Robinson and let him make plays. And Notre Dame did a good job of trying to corral him in the first half, and we'll see if they can hold up here in the second half.
Another dose of Robinson, and he's going nowhere. And that was Lewis Moore. Capron Lewis Moore hit him first, number 89, and spun him back.
The entire defensive line actually getting some penetration, and so one thing that becomes a problem when you start to rely so much on Denard Robinson, this defense starts to zero in completely on number 16, and somebody else, preferably on the outside, somebody's going to have to make a play to take some of the heat off of Denard.
Now they give him 2 backs in this formation, and Herbie, you and I were at practice, and we saw Vincent Smith. He's a very good receiver circling out. They do have some plays in the game plan for number 2, and he was off to Denard's right that time. Now Hemingway and Roundtree both check in.
The problem, and I think when Al Borges inherited this group of players, he said, listen, one of the things that hurt this offense, even though they were productive, is the wear and tear on Denard Robinson playing in the Big Ten. You can't always rely on him to have to make the play, and they were hoping to be able to find, whether it was Michael Shaw or Stephen Hopkins or some of the receivers, to take some of the heat off of him.
Grady is also one of his receivers this time, as Denard stands tall in the middle and fires to Hemingway. So it's incomplete. Hemingway the target on that play.
Jamora Slaughter, the safety, matched up one-on-one with the big target at Junior Hemingway. Pretty physical coverage. He gets away with it, and he was all over the big receiver. Really didn't have much room at all to work with for Denard Robinson to be able to throw there on 3rd down.
Goodman awaits the punt. There is a flag down, and Goodman coming to the left. Driven out of bounds around the 30-yard line.
He was forced out by Ramon Taylor. Penalty flag on the play.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. The penalty will be added to the end of the run. 5 yards, 1st down.
So they tack on another 5 yards for the Irish. We're going to take a break and come back. Notre Dame leads Michigan by 10 with 8:22 remaining in quarter number 3.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Taco Bell, think outside the bun, and Fidelity Investments, turn here.
Well, in their first night game, the Wolverines break their attendance record, 114,000 plus. Now it's 1st and 10 for the Irish. And they hand it off to Gray, who is checked in. Gray breaks the daylight. Midfield, 45. All the way to the 30-yard line. And Woolfolk finally brought him down, but that's a 38-yard run by Gray.
Watch the left tackle, Zach Martin, come around and lead here on this counter. Good job of setting his block up. And then Gray, who's known to be the more physical back of the two between he and Sierra Wood, showing he can get upfield and accelerate in a hurry himself. He had a big fumble in that opening drive against South Florida. And tonight he's been able to help out this Notre Dame offense.
Now they come in with Wood. And a timeout. So Brian talking about the clock management and everything, what he saw out there. You know, there's a very good friend of ours that we're really missing. Dave Perry was the head of Big Ten officials from 1990 to 2009. Passed away a while back, and I just say that he was such a great friend of ours and all of college football and Big Ten Conference. He was really very instrumental in instant replay with the Big Ten. Commissioner Jim Delaney said to Dave, let's see what we can do. And they experimented with it for a year, and finally we have a system that has worked very well. Dave Perry has a son who's one of the better referees right now in the National Football League, and all of us miss Dave.
Just a guy who had great passion for his job, and anytime you had a question about a certain rule or a call, he loved for you to have the excitement to want to ask that question, and he always was ready for the answer.
Isn't that the truth? Wonderful man. First down and 10. Wood fumbled the ball. Ball came free. Wolverines dive in after it. They've got it. First indication is Michigan football. Another turnover for Notre Dame. That's 3 tonight.
Yeah, number 3 tonight, 5 last week. And it's really the only way that Michigan's able to stay in this football game. Sierra Wood puts this ball on the ground. Michigan's defense on a slant does a good job of getting some penetration, getting a hand on the football, but it wasn't a big hit that jarred this ball loose. He just eventually looked like he was trying to make a cut back into really the teeth of that defense, and the ball went on the ground. But 3 turnovers, a big part of why Michigan's kind of hanging around, even though they've been outplayed for the most part of this game.
7.5 minutes remain in the third. Wolverines are down by 10. Robinson going to put it up on first down. Dropped incomplete near midfield. Hemingway.
They have got to be able to take advantage of these one-on-one matchups. A little bit of confusion there, but that little hesitation. I mean, Hemingway still should be able to make that catch. The ball's there. He should be able to make that catch. But by almost running into one of his other receivers, I think that hesitation created a little bit of confusion there. And the ball was already in the air, and he tried to dive to make the catch, but he couldn't come up with it.
McColgan now in as the fullback. And Borges wants Robinson up underneath center. And they run the draw play out of it with Hopkins.
Stephen Hopkins brought down by Dan Fox.
So some of the impact players, Herbie, I know that you highlighted a couple of the fellas. How they doing?
Well, Hopkins, who was out last week, they thought he could have an impact along with Michael Shaw, but right now he's not seen a whole lot in the running game outside of Denard Robinson. Hemingway's only had the 1 catch, and here comes another third down for this Michigan offense.
And Robinson is only 2 of 11 throwing the ball tonight. So it is third down. Doesn't scramble out, and there, his third reception's a big one to Koger. Finally, the tight end, and it'll move the chains. First down for the Wolverines.
That's the first time tonight they have converted on a third down. Roundtree crosses Manti Te'o, and it was enough, I think, for him. He's kind of staring into the eyes right there at Denard Robinson and respecting that Denard can at any moment take off and go. And because of that threat, he had to start to step up, and that opened things up that time for Koger.
Now for the 43 of the Wolverines. Play action. Going to go deep middle, double coverage intercepted. Picked off at the 29-yard line by Zeke Mata. from Vero Beach, Florida, and the Irish have it back.
Brent, this is a case where the quarterback kind of predetermines what he wants to do with the football. I want you to watch the wheel route by the fullback this time, McColgan, who's going to go down the sideline, and watch who follows him. Nobody. The problem is Denard Robinson just locks in on his receiver, and he throws it right into coverage. And Mata's able to just kind of sit there. I think he's surprised as anybody that Denard Robinson threw that football. But the fullback is all alone down the right sideline.
This is Wood. Cuts back. And crosses midfield for a first down at the 45 before Kovacs, the safety, is forced to make the stop after a 24-yard run. And Wood now with better than 100 yards rushing here this evening.
Michigan's going to look back at that opportunity where they created that third turnover and then to turn the ball right back to Notre Dame. Brian Kelly opting to go a little bit of up-tempo here to try to get this offense going.
Back to with the boundary, and it'll be second and long. And Kenny Demmons, the linebacker, makes the stop for the Wolverines.
Michigan's given up some yards, but really since the first part of this game, you got to give Greg Madison and his group some credit. Not just creating the turnovers, but they're bending a little bit, but they're not breaking. They gave up 14 points in the first quarter, but since then, they've been able to come up with enough wrinkles, I think, to confuse Reese in crucial moments on either a third down or, like I said, creating the turnover.
Down to 5, 3, 2. Gets it off. Hands it off to the running back.
Well, it hurt them last week, even though they had 500 yards of offense, and it's been a little bit of the same story tonight. They've moved the football. They just turned it over 3 different times. And Tommy Reese with 2 interceptions, and in the last possession, Sierra Wood put the ball on the ground for that third turnover. Man-to-man coverage.
Rolls in that direction, throws to Floyd in underneath it, and he's got the first down at the 26-yard line. Floyd makes the stop defensively.
And Floyd, of course, is feeling it. I circled him because, hey, it's third down, you're man-to-man, and you're going up against J.T. Floyd. With all due respect to J.T. Floyd, you don't have a chance. You're not going to be able to stay with this guy. Not only does he have the advantage with the size, but, of course, because he's dropped some weight, he's healthy, he's much quicker, he's able to explode away from you. Every time Tommy Reese gets into third down, they should double number 3 because he's looking him up every single time.
Gray, the running back. Stopped. Stoned in the backfield that time. Van Bergen penetrating, and there's a penalty flag.
They may have gotten a chop block there on Zach Martin, the left tackle.
Penalty on the play.
Holding. 39 defense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So that is a big penalty as we take a look at this.
But I really thought Zach Martin off there, he went down underneath Heininger, but they call the holding because he grabbed the hold of Watt as he was going down. You know, if you engage with one of the linemen and the other lineman undercuts you, they're going to call it every time. But that time, I guess they didn't feel the left guard, Chris Watt, was engaged enough with Heininger.
Tommy Reese is 17 of 26. And we saw Wood's hand down there being tended to. End zone, Floyd, incomplete.
Reese's pass incomplete, intended for Michael Floyd. Broken up by J.T. Floyd.
I'm amazed to see Floyd continue to be isolated one-on-one, and Floyd pretty good coverage that time. Let's give him some credit. Ball's put up in the air, and that's the one thing you always want to do when you have a bigger receiver down inside the red zone like that. Put it up in the air and give your receiver a chance to go up and make a play on it, because more often than not, the corner can't see the football.
My eyes are older than yours. I thought he grabbed his jersey. Second down and 10. Here's Gray trying to squirt through the left side. Dimmons.
Again, here's a position. Third down. Michigan, again, has been bending and bending. Let's see what happens here. You got to believe that Michael Floyd on third down is going to get double coverage. They're moving him around. He's been at the top the last few plays. This time they're going to move him down as the inside receiver. On the three receivers to the right, he's the inside man closest to the football. Well, they're going to try to see if they can get him the ball. See if they double him this time.
Third and 9. Looks back toward the crossing pattern this time. Underneath and tiptoeing down the sideline for a touchdown. T.J. Jones, the sophomore from Gainesville, Georgia.
Great to see T.J. Jones. He was the young man that Brian Kelly went after. Look how the patience of Tommy Rees. He's looking off to his left. Eventually comes back to the middle of the field and finds Jones, who gets upfield. And did he stay in bounds as he accelerated down the sideline? Absolutely. That's a nice play and a big touchdown for the Fighting Irish.
And Ruffer adds the extra point. 24-7. Notre Dame. And that time, T.J. Jones had his eye on the football. Didn't hit him in the back of the helmet like it did last week. He took it in for 6. $114,000 here tonight. Our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything Goodyear has learned making tires for superior performance inspires what they roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven. So the Wolverines, who've had 9 possessions here tonight. And there's Jones, who just put 6 on the board for Notre Dame. But the most plays Michigan's had on any drive is 4. Just 4. And it's 28 minutes to 14 minutes of possession time here. And the Wolverines will get a crack at a return. And here comes Vincent Smith sprinting out to the. There's a penalty flag. There's a penalty flag thrown at it.
There is a penalty flag on the play. Taking one Muzzy made a tackle along with Stephen Finer.
Holding. 86 on the return team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Now here is Jones last week. And notice what happened. Off the helmet, a turnover.
Yeah, didn't have his head turned around, and that's what sent Brian Kelly into one of his hissy fits last week. But this time, he has his head turned around and gets a catch, and you can see the acceleration and the potential of the sophomore, who that time did exactly what he was coached to do. And I thought it was interesting also to see Tommy Rees. We thought he might go again to Floyd, but instead didn't even look off to the right to Floyd. He was trying to actually get the ball to the tight end Eifert. He came off of that, and by the time he came off it, Jones was coming underneath wide open.
Kirby, that's pretty remarkable that the longest drive for Michigan's 4 plays here tonight. Play action. Still standing. Strength. Completes it to Hemingway. He's headed for the end zone in a foot race. Can he make it? He cannot, because Robert Blanton, the corner, was able to come at an angle and manage to batter him offside. But look at the strength of Denard Robinson on this play.
Well, this is great, because it tells you everything about Notre Dame. Their approach this week, let's stop Denard Robinson. Don't let him get outside. They do a good job of containing Lewis Moore's right there. He just can't pull him down. He's got his jersey, he's got his ankle, he's got everything. Denard Robinson's lower body strength the key, and also Junior Hemingway not giving up on the play.
Now they try to run a sweep, and Michigan does it job, and they can't get the corner turned because the Irish were able to string it out that time on Michael Shaw. And so it'll be 2nd and goal after that scintillating, Herbie. Can I use that word? 77-yard game?
Absolutely. I think it deserves that. And I'll tell you, if you're down inside the 10-yard line, keep the ball in the hands of Denard Robinson. Put him in that shotgun. Give him a chance to run or throw. Give him a chance to be able to make a play with some creativity. And the fact he's under center here, don't be surprised to see some kind of bootleg or something where he's rolling out.
Rolling right, looking for end zone, keeps it, 5-4, reaches end zone, just short. Just short of the end zone.
That's exactly what you want to see from Al Borges. You've got a playmaker, your best playmaker. This time you put him under center. Notre Dame had to be expecting something from Denard Robinson. They go with the bootleg, the naked, and this is what he can do. Things are covered. Next thing you know, he's going to be able to create, pick up a block, almost get it all the way into the end zone, but instead he's at about the 6-inch line. Great call that time by Al Borges.
Well, here's another 4-play drive coming up. They've got 3rd and goal, and they're going to review this because I'll tell you, it was very close to the end zone. When he went down at that one, there were a lot of bodies there, so it's hard for us to tell. But this is a good review call here to take a look at this and to see where the ball is when he goes down.
I think it's a matter of, did he land on a Notre Dame player and he rolled into the end zone, or did he actually touch the surface of the field? I think that's what they probably want to see. It looked like he landed on a Notre Dame player, and did his body ever touch? And by the time he touched, was he into the end zone? This might be a better angle right here. But he stretched the ball out. The Notre Dame player tried to take it away from him. That's a really good job by Slaughter, the safety. Well, watch Robinson try to extend the football, and the safety Slaughter says, I'll take that ball from you. But it's tough to see.
Boy, these replay officials, they've had 2 tough calls down here. The one on Hemingway, and there's the right knee going down.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's anything indisputable that would give Michigan a touchdown here, but we'll see. They're the fellas in charge up here, not us.
Watch Slaughter. He said, I'll take that football from you.
He sure will. Well, Robinson's able to catch his
After
breath.
further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
Yeah, that's the right call.
Well, we've got 17 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter, and Herbie, if Coach Hoke's team bangs in here, it's a pretty exciting 4th quarter.
No doubt about it. Notre Dame has a huge advantage in every stat that you want to look at in this game, but if Michigan scores here, again, they're just kind of hanging around, maybe down by 10 heading into that 4th quarter. The clock's running here, so I don't even know if we're going to get this play off.
Got the student body down there and everything. And 1 second left on the snap. They didn't get it off. That's the end of the 3rd quarter. So Michigan will attempt to score when you come back for the money quarter. Denard Robinson trying to take it in again. Well, one of the things you can say about Denard Robinson, he is certainly one of the most exciting players in college football. Struggling a little bit with his passing game today. He's only 4 of 14, but he's thrown a touchdown pass, 136 yards. But he's rushed for 84 yards. And here he comes with a 3rd and goal to start the 4th quarter as the Wolverines attempt to battle back. And there's the big back who's on the field. Stephen Hopkins, the 6-footer out of Double Oak, Texas. They've got him at the fullback spot. They give it right to him, and he's the fumble picked up. Robinson, touchdown, Michigan.
Just like it was drawn up. Oh, yeah, that was part of the deal there. Hopkins gets drilled at the line of scrimmage, gives up the ball, bounces one hopper to Denard Robinson, walk into the end zone. Get this thing within 10 points. Game on.
Is that the 4th play of that drive? Mr. George Hill, ever on the stats over there. That's ties their longest drive in number of plays tonight. Now for the extra point. Wolverines attempting to battle back. Down by 10. You got lots of time as you take a look. Ever alert. 16 for 6. So Denard Robinson and the Wolverines pull to within 10. 14:54 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And the Wolverines will kick it off from their own 30-yard line. So young Collinsworth, I believe, is back there. Riddick and Austin Collinsworth. So hang on here, Chris. Short kickoff. Uh-oh, bad bounce. Wolverines will try to close in. Down at the 10-yard line. And let's go to Reese Davis in the studio for Sports Center right now.
Brent, it is presented by Discover Card. Let me show you the opposite of the kickoff return you just watched in our game. Nebraska and Fresno State. This is Amir Abdullah of Nebraska. That move right there is the reason orthopedic surgeons exist. 100 yards on the kickoff return. Nebraska, well, they had their hands full with the Dogs. They won it 42-29.
Boy, did they ever have their hands full. And yes, Theo Riddick had a tough time, and Brian Kelly just gave the troops an earful here, and he closed it off by saying, let's go. He knows if they give it up quickly, the Wolverines are ready to pounce again. They trail it by 10, and back in as the running back now is Sierra Wood. They roll in that direction. It's second down and 10. So let's take a look at tonight's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Yeah, let's not forget on that Michigan touchdown drive, this huge play. And I don't know if this is good hands necessarily by the Notre Dame defense, but it's definitely good hands by the quarterback, Denard Robinson, keeping this play alive and then eventually finding his open man downfield that has set up this touchdown where he picks up the fumble and gets into the end zone.
Second down and 10. Wood behind the right side. Flashes to daylight and the stop by Hawthorne. Brandon Hawthorne drawing some playing time at that linebacking spot. Herbie, I think we should point out that Mike Ragone is done for the night. He's been over there, and that is their second tight end in behind Eifert. And so a youngster by the name of Koyak has had to pick up the slack out there because Jake Golick is also injured. So here is third down coming up.
Floyd down at the bottom, Brent.
They're going to try to run for it here, and they throw him for a loss. That is Hawthorne again. So the young man from Pahokee, Florida, which is out west of the West Palm Beach area, brings a little speed to the dance, and watch what occurs here.
Yeah, he can play pretty good high school football down at Pahokee, and he times this up perfectly. That's the thing you have to really appreciate about this Michigan defense, learning Greg Madison's scheme. It's new to them, but they're timing it up perfectly and disguising the pressure when they're coming.
Now the Wolverines will attempt to wind up with field position. Gallen is back deep for this punt, and it's not a good one. It goes out of bounds, and the Wolverines will have the ball in Irish territory when you come back. They're down by 10, 13:22 to go.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by X-Men First Class on Blu-ray and DVD today.
Folks, that video is being taken by a couple of parachutists from a demonstration team of the 101st Airborne. Jared Gooding of Idaho coming in. Matthew Thode of Germantown, Wisconsin. both of them landed at halftime. Just remarkable. The officer in charge here, Tom Lynch from Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, whom I've known for a long time. And that was quite a show. And that was a big play defensively, Herbie. Who made that play?
Looked like Dan Fox was able to get in there. They tried to kind of catch him on a pop pass, but it's taken away. They're trying to get everybody to come down on Vincent Smith or Denard Robinson, but the coverage was outstanding. And eventually Fox, the middle linebacker, came free and was able to get after Denard Robinson there. Michigan trying to catch Notre Dame, testing their discipline out of position and trying to get over the top to a tight end.
2nd and 15. Play action. Now they drop it off underneath to the fullback. There is a Bo Schembechler play. John McColgan. That's a position you didn't see in the last administration, folks.
I formation, man-to-man coverage. The tight end actually occupies Manti Te'o, and Dan Fox, who just made a great play to get penetration, that time gets caught up in traffic, can't get out into the flat, and that time maybe they caught him off guard by actually throwing it to the fullback.
I remember Cade McCowney, UCLA, being coached by Al Borges, would occasionally throw to that fullback. You can break a fullback wide open. You just wait till Jim Harbaugh and the San Francisco 49ers get that position filled. 1st down and 10 now for the Wolverines. And Denard keeps it. Beautiful little play action. Fell in there right behind Smith, forcing Harrison Smith to make the stop for the Irish.
Watch how long he stays on that ride. See, it looked like Vincent Smith was pulling on the ball. The quarterback was trying to get it back. He's actually, again, reading this. You see it a lot with Oregon. He decided that the read was coming down on Vincent Smith. He pulls it out late. And again, when Denard Robinson gets the football in his hands to that second level, he gets upfield and accelerates faster than any other quarterback in the country.
The 1st down at the 18-yard line, trailing by 10. Smith across the 15-yard line, and Johnson makes a nice stop.
Johnson made the tackle.
This offense, that little pass to the fullback, not only is it a good play for the offense, but it's just another little wrinkle that gives the defense something else to think about. This is amazing. 58 plays to 38, 414 to 250, 22 to 8. And Michigan's driving here to get within maybe 3 points.
But here's a scoop. This is the 5th play of this drive. This is their longest drive of the night.
Oh, yeah.
2nd down and 7.
Inside 5, 4, 3. Got to call the timeout.
Burned 1 of 3. Didn't want to take the 5-yard penalty down
Michigan
there.
has called the first
those timeouts are going to be important late in this game.
Checking his wristband with the plays. Now we'll take a break. Michigan on the drive, trying to edge closer. So we are back, and it is the 2nd and 7 coming up for the Wolverines. The ball just inside the 15-yard line. They can get a 1st down at the 8 with Brady Hoke over on the sideline. Denard lofts it one-on-one, end zone, touchdown, Gallen. Robinson's 2nd touchdown pass of the day. And the Wolverines can pull to within 3 with an extra point.
Brent, when I saw him initially throw this, I thought, what are you doing? Gray has him blanketed, but he intentionally threw it behind his receiver so he could see the football and adjust back to it. And it's the 2nd time Gary Gray could not find the ball in coverage. Hemingway got him earlier, and this time it's Gallen adjusting back to the ball for the touchdown.
Big extra point for Gibbons. Tacks it on. Now let's go back to what set this touchdown up. It was that 25-yard punt that gave the Wolverines excellent field position, and they did the rest. 5 plays, 40 yards, and Michigan has pulled to within 3. Now you see Brady Hoke down there without the headset on. There was a little bit of criticism on talk radio, but he is very comfortable in his own skin. He stresses defense. A defensive line coach And so he doesn't mess with what Borges is calling on offense. He might go over and say, I want to stress the run or I want to stress the pass. But he does not call every play offensively. He does not feel he needs to wear that headset, but he stresses the defensive part of the game.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's put a good staff around him. But I want you to see the coverage this time. I thought when he threw it, I happened to be looking right at Gallen, and when he put the ball up there in coverage, Bray was all over him. Watch this at the bottom. I mean, you couldn't do it any better other than turning back, and when the receiver turns up to look for the ball, you've got to look back for the football. He waited too long to look back for the ball, and Denard Robinson purposely threw it back behind the defensive back, and Gallen adjusted back to the ball, and Gray couldn't find it. Gutsy play there by Denard.
Matt Weil. So remember, Riddick had trouble over here the last time. Fields this one around the 20. Spins in the middle. And out to the 38-yard line.
It's been a tale of two different halves for Denard Robinson. We talked a lot about Notre Dame containing him, staying to the outside, not giving him anywhere to go. By containing him, it allowed the rest of the defense to swarm with the football. But in the second half, a different story. From the opening drive, they've been able to find some creases, find some opportunities for Denard Robinson to make some plays, and he's gotten upfield, and he's gotten the momentum back into this stadium and into this offense.
This is a huge offensive series for the Irish. Sierra Wood is the running back for Reeves. Reeves on first down, fires in underneath and cuts it in half to Eifert, the tight end, Tyler Eifert.
Brent, you wouldn't want this any other way, would you? First night game in the history of this stadium. Michigan and Notre Dame.
Michigan.
You just knew it would be within 3 or a touchdown going into the fourth quarter. Greg Madison made a great point to me, the defensive coordinator back from the Ravens in the NFL last year. He said, man, it's so great to be back in this environment. He said, you know, in rivalries like this, these are the kind of games that legends are made of. Let's see who's going to get their chance here late in this fourth quarter.
Second and 5, and there's a penalty flag. The umpire threw it right in the middle of that pit area. You know what that means. Well, Herbie, to follow up now for our rivalry history. And this rivalry history is brought to you by Sprint. The average margin of victory in the series, look at that, 4.4. 10 of the last 20 meetings have been decided by 5 or fewer. In the last 2 meetings, one with less than 30 seconds on the clock.
The other thing I might add, and you've been into this stadium a lot, with these new suites, this new renovation, this noise stays down now in this stadium much more so than ever before.
Absolutely. Second down and 15 after the penalty for the Irish. The big man, but he didn't get it downfield. And this is going to be third and a bunch. That's basically a handoff to a running play, and the defense was ready for it.
Yeah, they finally got the ball back to Floyd. The problem is with the ball on the right hash, Floyd didn't have a lot of room to work with, and after the catch, he didn't have anywhere to go. And once again, Brandon Hawthorne has been all over the field. The linebacker, number 7 from Pahokee, is settling in.
J.T. Floyd is that corner who's been busy with Floyd tonight. They need 15 yards. They have to get to midfield for a first down, and Reeves decides to burn a timeout. I don't know that Kelly is happy with this timeout. I think I saw him say, Tommy.
Brent, I think when Tommy Reeves initially made the hard count, the 2 middle linebackers started to come, and they indicated that they were blitzing. He started to make an adjustment. I think Brian Kelly may have saw something. And the reason he was frustrated, he said, hey, we have that built into the play. We're okay if they blitz. We still have the right play that we need.
The coaches describe Tommy Reeves as a gamer. Not the most athletic of the quarterbacks that they've got. But he's a young man who grew up in a football family. His daddy played. Later scouted for several teams in the National Football League, including the Bears. And this scene, ladies and gentlemen, is as good as it gets here tonight. Third and 15. Steps up, fires, first down. What a clutch pass by Tommy Reeves, putting it in Eifert's hands, his tight end, for the first down.
Amazing. Michigan did not bring pressure. They rushed forward. They got some pressure from the outside. Reese does a good job of stepping into it, and instead of going to Floyd, he's able to patiently wait for the big tight end, Eifert, who is a great target, and that is showing the poise that you and I have been talking about all night from Tommy Reese. That's a huge play.
That's why the coaches describe him as a gamer, ladies and gentlemen. Come off a timeout that they don't like and come back with a 21-yard gain on a big third down. Now Wood spinning for 3. And Thomas Gordon up there. A huge part of this ball game with 8:03, 3-point lead.
Well, that window was about as tight as you could fit in.
Absolutely.
A throw, but he somehow managed there on that big third down. If Notre Dame ends up winning this game, we're going to look back at that play.
He's got it down to 3 now. 2. Got it off. Snaps it, and it's to Floyd for another first down at the 30-yard line, forcing J.T. Floyd to make still another tackle. So Floyd now 13 catches tonight, 159 yards.
Good job by Sierra Wood picking up that blitz from Thomas Gordon. And when they blitz, it's one-on-one on the outside, and you know who he's going to when he gets one-on-one coverage. Poor J.T. Floyd, who's been left out there on an island at times with Michael Floyd, and he finds him again.
On a slant, fires off another completion just shy of the red zone, and Woolfolk making the stop this time. T.J. Jones is there. The Irish second down and short. And there's Woolfolk, who's shaken up a little bit, and he may be shaken up again.
He's been a gamer tonight. He looked like he re-injured that ankle early in this game, but he's been trying to fight through it, showing a lot of courage. Looks like maybe he got hit up high, and you can see the blood. Doesn't have anything to do with the ankle. He's playing with a right hand that's actually in a cast. He's got an ankle that's bothering him, and now he's got a nosebleed.
His father was one tough hombre here as a college running back. Later went to the NFL. And the coaches were telling us that when Pops comes around to see his son, he looks like he could still play. Really great physical condition. A lot of these fellas come back. And, of course, now we see so many children. We've talked about Chris Collinsworth. Terry Henready, the former great quarterback at Notre Dame, has a son who's a backup offensive guard. George Atkinson, who was a great defensive back with the Raiders, has twin sons who are freshmen at South Bend. Second down now and 2.
Here comes Kovacs again on that blitz. Showing it a little bit, kind of backing out, got man-to-man coverage. Let's see what Reese does here on second and short.
Going for the end zone, incomplete. And a penalty flag is going to be called. TJ was there in the end zone, and the penalty is going to go apparently against Michigan.
Number 5 on the defense. The penalty occurred in the end zone. The ball would be placed at the 2-yard line.
Avery.
First and goal.
Courtney Avery. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, give Brian Kelly some credit here for continuing to come up to the line and giving the quarterback time to make the adjustments at the line of scrimmage. I really don't see the call. I mean, Avery's out there battling for the football. That's a 20-yard penalty that'll move the football even deeper into Michigan territory. But they brought the blitz. It's man-to-man, and this time he decided to go after Avery, the sophomore, in one-on-one coverage. The ball was underthrown, and Avery did all he could there. I really didn't see pass interference.
Neither did Brady Hoke. And he's letting them know about it right now.
forget about the Irish woes last week inside that 10-yard line. Let's see how they execute down here tonight.
Woods, the running back. Fumble. Ball's loose. Michigan. Just as you pointed out, another turnover in the red zone.
Brent, I think he's saying that his arm was coming forward, but I think as he was reaching back, he had Floyd one-on-one. He was going to go to the fade for a potential touchdown, and lo and behold, the ball just fell out of his hand. As his arm starts to come forward, no, that ball is out of his hands. That is a fumble. That's Michigan's football, and that is a 4th turnover tonight. That's 9 in the first 2 weeks for Notre Dame's offense.
Now the Wolverines, we'll see if they can capitalize. They will take over at the 9-yard line, their own 9-yard line. And on first down from the 1, complete. And a penalty flag flies inside the 5 as Roundtree was the receiver.
First down, Michigan.
So another bad break for the Wolverines, guilty of holding, and that's going to bring this big play back.
When Denard Robinson is in rhythm, he can throw the football with some velocity. That time, play action on 1st and 10. He waited for Junior Hemingway to clear vertically. Then Roundtree eventually opened up on a crossing route, but he'll surprise you with his arm strength. When he has time to throw, he can get it downfield. The problem is, tonight, outside of Junior Hemingway, he's the only receiver. Actually, Gallen's made 1 catch on the touchdown. Those are the only 2 that have made a catch. Hemingway with 2 catches and Gallen with 1.
Yeah, don't forget the fullback slipped out that one time, too. Heard it.
Yep.
And a beautiful tackle by Calabrese. Cario Calabrese out of Vernon, New Jersey, makes the stop.
Denard trying to make something happen here, pulling that out. Calabrese he just lit up Vincent Smith, and that's the bread and butter for these players, even though they're trying to learn a new system. So even though it might look like a risky play as he pulls it out of there, at the same time, deep in their own territory, that is somewhat of a familiar feel for Denard Robinson and these backs.
5 minutes to go, so you would not think this is 4-down territory. So this is 2nd down coming up here. Coming out for the 1, going deep, double coverage, and it's grabbed at midfield. Denard Robinson, and Hemingway makes the catch, but we've got another penalty flag back by the line of scrimmage, but this time Michigan players are not going back inside the 5. They're coming up to the football here. There is a penalty flag. Going to be roughing the passer.
Yep, it's late hit on Denard Robinson.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. 89 defense. 15-yard penalty.
Lewis Moore roughed Robinson.
Denard Robinson just waited for this play to develop, and he actually just threw it up into double coverage. By throwing that football, Lewis Moore comes in late. Look at this. Look at this coverage here. You got 2 safeties bracketing the receiver, and neither one's able to find the football. Harrison Smith on one side, Zeke Mata on the other. He just puts it up there, and once again, his receiver on an underthrown ball adjusts back to the football for a catch.
Ball spotted at the Irish 30. Denard, far side, one-on-one. This time it's intercepted. Irish ball on the 20-yard line as it's picked off by Robert Blanton.
It's the first time tonight that we've seen a Notre Dame defensive back find the football in coverage. Bob Diaco has to be saying, thank you. Thank you. Denard Robinson has been taking some chances in his passing game, simply throwing the football up and hoping that his receivers adjust to make the ball. And I think he just said, hey, this is easy. Just throw it up. The defensive backs can't find it. My receiver will adjust to make the play. And this time the senior Robert Blanton makes him pay for it. That's a heck of a catch and a good job of finding the football by the corner.
That is the third interception thrown by Denard Robinson tonight. He's 7 of 18, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 interceptions. And now the Irish will see what they can do to 4:23 on the clock. Wood will be the running back. Tommy Rees the quarterback. The Wolverines have 2 timeouts left. Down by a field goal. Wood picks his way for about 3 yards, and Demmons has been very active as a linebacker for the Wolverines.
This is where play calling in college football is always interesting. It's late in the game. Michigan has 2 timeouts. Obviously, you're expecting the run to keep the clock moving. But every once in a while, you'll see a guy like Brian Kelly not afraid to take some chances on early downs and try to be aggressive when you're expecting a conservative approach.
Puts it up here for a first down. Riddick's got it just short of the 30-yard line. Let's check in with Reese in the studio.
Brett, Taco Bell studio update. What an ending for USC and Utah. Utah was trying to kick a tying field goal. USC blocked it. Torrin Harris takes it back for the touchdown. Except some Trojans ran onto the field. First significant one that we've noticed in which the points were taken off the board under the new rule that has unsportsmanlike is a live ball foul if it happens. Well, the ball's in the field of play.
Yeah, exactly. Coming back with USC 17-14 and stuffed. Nothing doing on that play. The clock down to 3:06, and the Irish will be forced to punt it away.
Jake Ryan is a freshman from Westlake, Ohio, and a good-looking player, 90. You see how quickly he came around? Nobody even picked him up, but he was able to close in that time, and Wood didn't have a chance. Great job of getting around the tight end, Eifert, and Ryan, along with a host of other Michigan defenders, makes a big play.
Remember what we said early. Michigan had worked on a punt block, and remember, we've had 2 low snaps to Turk. He's been forced to go down to field 2 snaps. They're going to try to set the return. This punt drives Gallen way back. It's a beautiful punt. Back to the 21. And Gallen works the sideline back close to the 40-yard line. So another opportunity with 2:16 remaining, 2 timeouts. Michigan football when you come back. One of the grand scenes in all of sport. The Big House lit up for the first time. Final 2:16 coming up now. The Fighting Irish clinging to a field goal lead. Michigan ball on their own 42-yard line with Denard Robinson, Vincent Smith alongside, and Robinson keeping it all the way out near midfield. And this will be second down.
Well, Michigan with 2 timeouts and a field goal kicker that hasn't even attempted a field goal this year, and Brandon Gibbons. They want to get obviously in hurry-up mode here and get Denard Robinson in a position where he can make a play here with his arm. And if he has to create, get out of bounds or use that timeout.
Brendan Gibbons, and that has not been the overall strength of the Wolverine team. Down the middle comes Denard. Too high, and it'll be second down. Robinson has thrown for 210 yards tonight, but he's run for another 106. He's thrown for 2 touchdowns, and he has also run for 1. This a big 3rd down and 2. Now we're into that 4-down territory with the clock winding down at 1:41.
And still, with a timeout or a couple timeouts, clock stopping on a first down, this is where Denard Robinson with his feet, with that zone read, can be so effective, and he has Vincent Smith in the backfield with him here.
Quarterback draw, keeps it. trying to get the first down, and this one's going to depend on where they spot the football.
Robinson kept the ball. Men tied tail.
Very close. 1:34 left. Brady's signaling first down already.
Brent, you remember the game last year? It came back and forth, and it was Denard Robinson making a play late to eventually win the game for the Michigan Wolverines, and this defense has put him in a position down 3 with about a minute and a half to go to be able to maybe win it for a second year in a row. Got it.
Brady's got good eyes. 48 yards away from a touchdown. Brendan Gibbons, his career long is 24. That came against UConn last year.
But I will say, watching him Thursday in practice, he's got a leg.
Denard fires, got it complete. Brady, his first reception of the evening, the former basketball player, going to the far side, and now the Wolverines are in business. He gets out of bounds after a 27-yard gain.
And a great throw and a good job of attacking a matchup to his advantage. Grady against the safety, Mata. He'll take that. He was in rhythm. He got back, time to throw. Receiver made his cut to the outside, and he put a perfect throw right on the money to Grady.
Coach Kelly was probably saying, oh no, here we go again with this young man. Denard Robinson. Pulls out and rolls the right. He's going to throw back to the left to set up a screen. It's Vincent Smith, one of the plays they practice in the game plan. He's loose. End zone. Michigan leads it. Will have a minute and 12 to work with. They certainly don't want a celebration penalty. His third touchdown pass of the evening. Now Gibbons. Is Michigan headed for another 4-point win? The Irish will try to answer.
This is a great call because of your concern of this guy right here rolling out. Watch the linebackers and watch the safety. Everybody's going to flow here, and then they get the ball thrown back to the other side. The patience here. Look at the defense flowing to the right. They get everybody out of position. A great move right there by Vincent Smith, and then he had the blocks downfield. Darius Fleming was in position to be able to make the play. Vincent Smith sneaks out the back door. Right there, Fleming had a chance to make a play. Vincent Smith makes the miss, and then he had a convoy to lead him into the end zone. Great call by Al Borges, and a nice job of saving that play for late in the game.
Denard Robinson told us that Vincent Smith is one of the toughest players on this team, and he means tough. Even though he's only 5'6", he says if he has to block for me, he can flat out do it. I trust him anytime. But he's from South Florida, and Vincent Smith takes it in.
Pahokee, Florida.
Now Matt Wild, the freshman out of San Diego, will kick it off. And the Irish will see what they can do. Collinsworth and Riddick are back deep. Riddick from the 5. Explodes middle, still on his feet. Good return to the 40. 105, and now it is Tommy Rees, the sophomore from Lake Forest, Illinois. The game's in his hands. He's thrown for 269 yards tonight, 2 touchdowns, but 2 costly interceptions.
And And remember, last week against South Florida, he showed great poise, and he tried to put his offense in a position to be able to make a play. We've been bragging about his poise all night. He's got one timeout remaining and 1:05 to go to be able to get potentially the game-winning touchdown.
You know he's got to be thinking about number 3, and you know the Wolverines are thinking about number 3. Fires under pressure, goes 3, and just overthrew him, and there's a penalty flag, however. J.T. Floyd, and there's a lot of time left. Hang on, he went with 3.
And J.T. Floyd just grabbed a hold of his jersey, and he's thinking, I'll take a pass interference call before I end up giving the game-winning touchdown up.
Number 8 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
Everybody in this stadium, everybody watching at home, Brent, you mentioned it. If he's isolated, they're going to get the ball to him. He grabs it early, and then he just reaches up right there and gets his entire jersey. I'm surprised he didn't rip it off his body. Floyd says, hey, he's grabbing on. Easy call for the official, and they're already in the Michigan territory.
I'm sort of surprised on this drive that JT is not getting bracket help, and maybe he will on this play. First down and 10 at the 46-yard line. Back again. Fires middle. Got a first down. That'll stop the clock momentarily as he worked across to Eifert, the tight end, who has been active here down the stretch in the second half. Now the chains will move to the 35. Clock stops. There's plenty of time, but you can see that play clock is ticking, and Kelly's got to remind his quarterback. Moving off to the right. He's got a man open. He'll step out of bounds and stop the clock. That is Jones out of bounds. Now 41 seconds.
Every offense in college football works on the 2-minute drill at the end of practice. This should be something that Tommy Rees and his offense, I know it's a different deal dealing with the crowd and the energy, but they know there's about 41 seconds to go, and they got one timeout, a first down, and getting out of bounds are your friend.
Floyd is to the top, or Rees right. He'll come off the 30-yard line.
Man-to-man coverage.
Trying to get to Rees. He comes back deep, incomplete. Overthrew Riddick.
Now, miscommunication that time. He saw one-on-one coverage, and he wanted to try to get the ball to T.J. Jones down the field. He was isolated one-on-one. And when you're one-on-one, Tommy Rees thinks he's got the receivers to win every single battle, not just with Michael Floyd, who now is in the slot off to the left to the quarterback, inside receiver.
3rd and 5, 36 seconds and one timeout. Middle. Touchdown, Riddick. The Irish regain the lead. Rees drives in the field with just over a minute remaining. Now Denard Robinson will have 30 seconds to work with. And they only need a field goal to send this into overtime.
An absolute mental error by the Michigan defense, trying to disguise coverage, trying to make sure that Michael Floyd doesn't make the reception. Rees saw it exactly the way he wanted to and makes the right read and a good throw.
Oh, good job by the holder. That ball was down, and he got it up for Ruffer, who nailed the extra point to make it 3.
Brent, you've got Michael Floyd. I circled him, and there's pretty excited. Here's Michael Floyd right here. There's nobody back here with the Michigan secondary. Now, they're going to drop some people. They're going to drop defensive linemen to Floyd, but nobody hits the middle of the defense. Nobody gets back there. I mean, Marvin Robinson, number 3, was all the way at the line of scrimmage, and when the ball snapped, he tries to nonchalantly get back in the middle of the field to be able to stop Riddick from making the play, but they thought they were going to try to get the football to Michael Floyd, but Rees that time did not lock into him, instead finds Riddick downfield, and that's a big-time mental error by the Michigan defense.
The young man from Lake Forest won 4 in a row to end the season last year. Didn't open the season as the starter. Got the job tonight. And if this score holds, we're going to be seeing a lot of number 11, Tommy Rees, as the season unfolds for the Fighting Irish. That was ice cold, that drive. That was something for a young man to come back in the teeth of 114,000 folks. I can't overstate what he did on that drive.
I love how Brian Kelly this week said, you know, the best thing I could say about Tommy Rees, the game comes easy to him. He sees things. He's accurate. He's tough. Makes good decisions. And that's what I'm looking for in my quarterback, and that's why I'm going with him. Kyle
Brinza. What a great kickoff. No chance for a return. Got to go 80 yards. Remember, of course, field goal pushes us into overtime. Denard Robinson, he's been magical. He's got 30 seconds.
Still has the 2 timeouts. And I said, I know that the field goal kicker, as far as game action, has not had a whole lot of opportunities, but you and I and our production crew watching him in practice, it was interesting. They put him at 30, made it by 20 yards. They put him back at 40, made it from 10 or 15 yards. They moved him back to 50, and he made it from there. So he has plenty of leg. It's just a matter, can they get in field goal range to give him a chance to maybe send it to overtime?
Meanwhile, for Robinson, Hemingway was used on a Hail Mary package that they practiced the other day. Robinson steps away, fires on the run, incomplete. On the move, Gallen overthrew him a little bit. So the time now, 23 seconds.
There's Gallen at 5'8", where you'd love to have Junior Hemingway at about 6'1" or 6'2". Maybe would have had enough height to be able to go up and make that catch.
You'd love to have Desmond Howard out there.
Amani Toomer. There's been a few good ones come through here.
Braylon Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
Second and 10. Steps away from the pressure, fires downfield, wide open's Gallen. They left him alone. Needs a block. Now he's in a foot race. Out of bounds at the 15, and there's 8 seconds to go.
Well, we just saw the Michigan defense make some mistakes, and this time, even though they're in that Hail Mary formation, Brett, you said it, they just lost Gallen. Didn't even pay attention to him. They were locked into the middle of the field, thinking he may just throw it up to Hemingway, but he does a good job of improvising and eventually finding Gallen hanging off out to the right all by himself. Still
what does he do here? Try to throw it into the end zone. He's got 8 seconds. He's got the field goal kicker over there. A field goal puts us into overtime. So Brady's got to think about what he's going to do here. He doesn't want the clock to run out if you start scrambling. That is the one thing you got to be careful of.
Brent, just get it in the middle of the field, take a knee, call a timeout, kick a field goal, and send it into overtime. Just take the snap, slide to your right, get it in the middle of the field, and call a timeout.
Starts Smith in motion. He's going to throw for it. He's got to throw it to the end zone. Lobs it up. One-on-one. Cut. Michigan. Touchdown. I can't believe this. Rory Roundtree. There's a penalty flag thrown at the 2-yard line. Touchdown is the call on the field with 2 seconds remaining. It counts. With 8 seconds on the clock, Michigan went for it. On a night that they honored Desmond Howard, you can't forget 4th and 1 with Elvis Gerbach, and Desmond Howard burned the Irish. And tonight, it is Denard Robinson.
It's a completed pass.
Roy Roundtree, the receiver.
Once again, one-on-one to the outside. Roundtree is locked up, and we have seen this time and time again with Gary Gray down in the end zone, getting lost in coverage. He was pushing back and forth with Roundtree. An amazing call by Al Borges to show the confidence and to take this chance here. I thought they would just position it for the game-tying field goal to get it into overtime. Instead, they take a chance and put it up there. Look at Gray. Head is turned. Doesn't know where the football is. Roundtree has possession. It looked like it came loose there at the end, but I thought he had the football right there. It looks like he has a foot down, and it looks like that should be a touchdown.
me go back. I said Denard Robinson's one of the most exciting players in college football. He's the most exciting player in college football. To drive a team 80 yards in 3 plays in 28 seconds.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
3 touchdowns have been scored here in the final minute and 12 seconds. 2 by the Wolverines and 1 by Notre Dame. Roundtree's first catch of the game. And it gives the Wolverines the lead with 2 seconds remaining.
We said that Notre Dame's defense was determined to stop Denard Robinson from running, even though he has over 100 yards rushing. They wanted to see if they could throw the football over 330 yards in passing. Even though he has the 3 picks, 4 big touchdowns, and especially the 2 late here. So it looks like they're going to win this football game. Braves lost. Roundtree comes back to the football, fights for it here. And they rule that he had possession for the game-winning touchdown.
I wasn't sure if any game could be more exciting this year, to tell you the truth, than Baylor upsetting TCU, but I've just seen it. 3 touchdowns in the final minute 12.
How about Notre Dame? Potentially looking at an 0-2 start, and the 9 turnovers in these first 2 games has everything to do with why they're sitting there looking at an 0-2 mark to start the season. And they got Michigan State next week in South Bend.
Denard Robinson hits Roy Roundtree, his first completion of the night to Roundtree. Overall, Denard, the young man from Deerfield Beach, Florida, 4 touchdown passes and 1 rushing TD. A signature win for Brady Hope early. 114,000. A record crowd in the big house. And I don't think one of them folks has left. The athletic administration here at Michigan would like to play a 1-night game a year. After seeing this, they may schedule the entire home schedule at night. Last year, Denard Robinson, 502 yards of total offense against the Irish, and Herbie this year, 446. That's 948 total yards of offense in 2 years. On the ground to run the clock out. Slips down. Picked up. Loose ball, end zone, dives, going through the end zone, game over. Folks, you have just seen an instant classic. Denard Robinson and some of the other players are going up into the student body here in Ann Arbor. Two good friends. They competed in the MAC. Brady was at Ball State. Coach Kelly was at Central Michigan. Let's go down below now to Aaron Andrews.
I just want to get, first of all, your reaction to those final 2 plays by your quarterback.
Well, obviously it's great to win a football game, you know, and they fought hard. Our kids fought hard. We got a lot to work on, I can tell you that, because we had no flow offensively in the major part of the game, and defensively we got to play a lot better.
Let me ask you one more question about...
It's good to win, though.
I was going to say, you're so composed, Brady. One more question about your offense. It was like a tale of 2 halves. What was the difference for the offense, especially in the passing game in the second half?
Well, you know, we dropped some balls earlier that would have kept us a little more consistent. We'd have had some good things going. But, you know, we just never got in sync as much as we'd like to. But we will. We're going to work it.
I know you said you have some things to work on, but it's a historical night. Your first win in this rivalry. I mean, how do you put this win into words right now?
Well, it's great win for Michigan, you know, and we've got so many great players who have played here and played in this rivalry. It's just a lot of fun. We're excited.
All right, Brady, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. And you just like Brady Hoke. He's just a likable guy.
Oh,
and you could be so happy, but you've got to feel for the other fellow. Notre Dame, they came here and they stood tall after that tough loss, traded blows, and a heartbreaking loss as they head back to South Bend.
You can draw up a game plan, and then you've got to go out and execute and contain the most electrifying player in the country, Denard Robinson. And they did that for the most part, but at the end, Robinson just would not be denied. He made the plays and took advantage of his opportunities for a second straight year, taking the Irish and making them pay.
Michigan wins at 35-31. 114,804 were here tonight, and more will say they were with them. Coming up next in SportsCenter. Next week, you're going to find us back on ABC, Saturday Night Football at 8. Number 1 Oklahoma will take on Florida State. Don't miss that one. This has been a presentation to ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports, along with Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews, and our entire crew. I'm Brett Musburger, saying so long from the Big House. SportsCenter is next.
SportsCenter right now. First night game in Ann Arbor, and if there weren't lights, Denard Robinson would have lit it up himself. The electrifying sophomore here finds Jeremy Gallen running free in the Notre Dame secondary. He said, tick, tick, tick. Only 8 seconds left on the clock. They could tie it with a field goal, or with 8 seconds left, Denard Robinson could throw it up to Roy Roundtree for his first catch of the game, third touchdown in the last minute and 12 seconds, and give Michigan the win afterwards. Shoelace with the commish.
College football's record crowd witnesses a game they will never forget. The students won't go home. Michigan's quarterback, Denard Robinson here, cannot stop smiling. He had to throw 2 game-winning touchdown passes, Denard, in the last 72 seconds, sandwiched around a Notre Dame touchdown. I'm not sure what we just witnessed. You tell me what this just was.
I don't know what happened. You just seen the Michigan team playing together and playing as a team.
When you go down, you win the game, you think once. Your defense has lapses. Now you got to go back on the field. A long way to go. 30 seconds take you through that last drive.
I mean, coach told us we're gonna do our last 3 plays. So we've been working on it all summer. And I was wondering why we were working on the play, but it ended up helping us at this game right here.
It was gutsy because he had 8 seconds, a field goal to tie it, and then Roundtree gets open in the end zone. They're kind of open, taking through the last play call.
We was in the huddle, and Roundtree said, I'm going to get the ball. Just give me the ball, give me a chance, and I'm going to catch it. And that's what I did. And our offensive line gave me time to throw the ball, and I made something happen.
It's risky to make that throw in that situation. You lived life on the edge tonight.
Oh, yeah. We had to take some risks tonight. I mean, this is Notre Dame, Michigan game. You got to take risks.
You guys had to stick with it. Let's be honest, it wasn't smooth sailing. The passing game wasn't functioning. You guys had 3 first downs in the first half. How did you hang in there?
I mean, we went in there, we went into halftime, and we just made some adjustments, and coach told us not to give up. We got a whole bunch of football to play, and that's what we did.
What is it about playing Notre Dame that brings out the best in you? More than 500 total yards a year ago, 446 tonight.
What?
Yeah, that's another silly number.
Oh, man. I'm just trying to compete with Desmond Howard.
Well, this was his night at the beginning. Your night at the end. 3 years in a row now, Michigan has beaten Notre Dame. That hadn't happened since 1908. All of them in the final seconds.
And that's crazy. The first one came from Tate, and then next year came from me, and then Roy this year.
What does this mean to you? Is this a memory you take forever?
I want to keep this jersey. We're having a hard time getting these jerseys, so we'll see what happens. And I just want to remember all this. Look at all this stuff right here, man. Look at the fans. They still here. The game is over.
They don't want to go. They want to have breakfast in the Big House. There were some downs, too. Defensively, this was not a great effort. What's your takeaway from this one going forward 2-0?
Even though we didn't play the best football, we got to win in. And hats off to Notre Dame because they played a great game.
Not always pretty. Not always like they drew it up, but once again, a flair for the dramatic. Denard Robinson and the Wolverines get it done on a magical night in Ann Arbor. Well done, my friend.
All right, thank you.
Denard Robinson figuratively lit up Ann Arbor fourth quarter, completing less than 30% of his passes in the first 3 quarters. And again, this was a game where Michigan's offense largely was held in check. The majority of the Irish defense hold them down, then just enormous, gigantic plays as Robinson completes 70%, 202 yards in the final 15 minutes with the 3 touchdowns.